What's your question? Trolling? I would say yes. Yeah, trolling is uh-huh.
Day that
Yeah.
this happened.
Okay.
Um,
It
and
says
I
here to
think
December
Steve was a little.
26th,
Yeah,
so
so
possibly.
I don't. Yeah, right. And Tom usually puts them up the next day. So I don't want to be presumptive, but Christmas is a time where we celebrate. You know, we're hanging out with family or friends. Wouldn't be unusual for one to be maybe a little intoxicated in a social situation and hear this
Possibly, yeah.
jackhole has summarily, you know, invited, nay, demanded that you show up and debate him, you know,
Right.
as king of the precepts, you know. So I do believe that in this case maybe Steve wasn't actually trolling because he was partially intoxicated, and the fact that he could do what he did with Darth here, partially intoxicated, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't trolling. Maybe it wasn't a deliberate act. Maybe he literally went into this just going, okay, you know, let's have a debate. This is how we debate.
Yeah, very
There are
possible.
rules.
Very possible.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an open-ended question.
Yep, it is. I do agree with you. Okay, we're all we're all set and lined up, ready to rock and roll.
Cool. Hit that play button.
Okay, just 1 sec. I just got to. There's always something to do before I hit the play button, isn't there? Okay, there we go. Play, play, play.
How about if we give Darth a 2-minute opening statement?
I don't need 2 minutes. Okay?
Oh, how
you can
much
take as much time. You can
time do
take
you
as
need?
much time as you want. Every time you answer, if I ask you a question, if you want a full 2 minutes uninterrupted, that's fine. So we're going to begin now. Okay, I'm a Christian theist. I'm a Christian theist because the God of Christian theism has revealed Himself. Through creation, through every fact, indicates and reveals God according to His plan, and the God of Christian theism has revealed Himself through the course of human history and has sovereignly and providentially and infallibly recorded that in the Christian scriptures, ultimately culminating in the words and teachings of Jesus Christ. Okay, so what is your worldview?
So you're finished and you want me to respond uninterrupted. Is that correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's your worldview?
Correct.
All right. Hang on really quickly because I was expecting you to speak longer than 15 seconds, but that's okay. So hang on just a second.
You have all the time you want.
I would say give me about 30 seconds here and I'll be happy to respond.
Sure. Take your time.
Oh, I will. Trust me. All right. Well, here we go. Let's see. Merry Christmas, everybody. And I've got 2 o'clock on Pacific Standard Time. I've born, raised, and continue to work and live in beautiful Southern California. My name is Steve Appell, and you can go ahead and Google me up if you want under Steve Appell Workers' Compensation. You can find out all about me. I make my living as a workers' compensation, employment, and labor law specialist. No, I'm not an attorney, but I've been doing it for 30 years, and I've been involved with over 10,000 cases. So I would consider myself an expert when it comes to workers' compensation, employment, and labor law. Um, I have been on Clubhouse for a little over 8.5 months. And in the past couple of weeks, I have been engaged by Mr. Darth Dawkins. I have no idea how old he is, where he is from, what he does for a living. And so I will finish my segment, since the only rules are no interruptions. I would ask Mr. Darth Dawkins, where are you from? How old are you? And what do you?
I don't get into my personal background or information other than my age. I'm 60 years old. Okay. What is your worldview, sir?
All right. So, as you all see so far, before I asked him, I specifically indicated my first and my last name. I presume Mr. Darth Dawkins was born Darth Dawkins, but I don't know if he's using an alias. I don't know if anybody else is. Before I asked him where he was from, I told everybody where I was from. I told everybody that you could Google me up and you could verify and vet me. So let's get everything up front. Everybody knows who I am, yet we have no idea, except on Clubhouse, where Mr. Darth Dawkins is from. So we get that right off the bat. As far as what my belief is, I'm an atheist. I presume we're talking about God.
Uh-oh. We have an issue with the stream.
Yeah,
There it
it's been a little bit choking and lagging. Like Steve's been roboting, and
has he?
I couldn't remember what. Yeah, on my end anyway.
Oh,
he
okay.
has
It's
been.
not coming. It's not doing that on the show.
Yeah, and then I was noticing on the screen, like whenever everybody talks on Clubhouse, a little gray ring lights up, and it wasn't lighting up in time with the speakers,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
And like the mute button was on, and Steve was still talking, and I'm like, there's something going on here.
Yeah, that's just my lag, I think, on my end. Let me see. Unless my internet's not working, but that can be because I'm talking to you. How strange is this? Now, what the hell's going on?
Now, what I could do is we could duck out, and I could try and stream it from my device onto your server, and maybe then it won't it won't be such a bandwidth hog.
Yeah, but then we'll see it, and they won't see it. I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
It's just like stopped.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's got like this weird gray circle of death kind of looping right under Darth.
Loading.
Circle of
Is
entropy.
atheism rational? I would say, yeah, sure. Atheism is absolutely rational. It's completely rational to not only doubt the existence of God, but also to doubt everything and anything that anybody tells you. I would recommend to anybody listening to this that you should not take what anybody tells you as the absolute truth. Growing up, I followed the rationale to question authority, and not only to question what people tell me, but also to question what people such as Darth Dawkins tell me. Specifically, when Mr. Dawkins admits that he's 61 years old, which, by the way, I am 61 years old, but he refuses to talk about his personal life. He refuses to say where he's from, and he refuses to say what he does for a living. Therefore, on its face, his credibility is seriously at issue. And when someone's credibility is at issue, you then have to more seriously consider the information that he gives and where.
Are you done? Yeah, that was a complete waste of time. Okay, I'd like to know, I've already made a case for the existence of God. What is your rationale or rational justification that there is no God?
Yeah, and we're going to make one point of moderation. Let's try to keep all conversation, on topic and not about people's personal biographies.
Yeah, the question is, how is it that there is no God?
Please.
Interesting. Mr. Dawkins just said that he's already made a case for God. I haven't heard him in this room, and we've been going for, 5 minutes now? I haven't heard him make any case for God. And by the way, if the mods have, or if Mr. Dawkins had, I would love for them or him to repeat the case he made for God in this room.
Are you done?
Yep, he's done.
Are you done? Okay, actually, I did make a case for
What do
God.
you
I guess
think,
you
Darth?
weren't listening carefully, or that you just simply didn't want believe my case for the existence of God, that God has revealed himself through creation and through human history. Now, I can repeat and expand on that if you like, since you weren't listening very carefully, in my view, but you have yet to answer the question that I've asked multiple times. You've told us that you're an atheist and that you believe that there's not a God. I would like to know, what is your rational justification that there is no God? Go ahead.
No one is proof.
Are you done?
You didn't say a word.
Are you
Oh,
done,
you're
Steve?
done.
Steve,
He
are you
did. He
done?
said no one has proven it.
When I finish speaking and go on mute, Darth,
Okay. Well, what you just uttered
He's
is a
done,
fallacy.
Darth.
We have two propositions. We have the God world and the not God world. I hold to the God world. You hold to the not God world. What you have just expressed is that you reckon the not God world to be true due to the fact that you are unpersuaded that the God world is true, or that it hasn't been shown to be true. That technically is called an argumentum ad ignorantum. It's an argument to ignorance. That if
But
we have
that's not what
two
he said.
antithetical propositions, X and not X, okay, which would represent the God world and the not God world, that one proposition is to be reckoned to be true because the opposite proposition has not been demonstrated to be true. Is that your position?
well, you use the word, and I'm probably going to mispronounce it because I've never heard the word before, and antiquitical, or what was the word you used?
Antithetical.
Antithetical. All
Both
right.
worldviews contradict each other.
No. I take your word for it because I'm going to plead ignorant. I've never heard that word before, but it doesn't mean it's not a word. I believe you.
Have you ever heard of the word antithesis?
Yes, antithesis means the opposite.
Right, and the word antithetical is derived from that.
All right. No, I'm familiar with antithesis. It's one of my favorite words. I had never just.
Okay. Do you need me to repeat the question?
No, but I'd appreciate if you didn't interrupt me when I was speaking. I thought that was unreal.
Right. The reason why I'm interjecting is because you're not addressing the question.
What's the question again, please?
Okay. Is it your position that the not God world is to be held as true because the God world has not been demonstrated to your satisfaction to be true? Is that your position?
Actually, Darth, the first thing I said was no, so I answered the question.
Okay, so how is the not God world true?
I have no idea.
So you don't have a rational basis to assert there is no God then, is that correct?
No, it's not correct. I believe I said 2 minutes ago the reason why I don't believe in God is because it hasn't been proven to me.
Okay, are you claiming neutrality?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, when you say you don't believe, are you just
Claiming
simply saying that you
neutrality.
don't have a positive belief in God, but that you are not denying the existence of God?
My answer is I don't believe in God. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, I can further explain it if you need. I suspect that both the mods and everybody in the audience understands what I said when I say I don't believe in God. It's
Okay,
not you're interrupting me a second time in a row, which is against the rules. That's
I'm
the
listening.
one rule. That's the one rule we established.
You need to chill out. Go ahead, finish.
Oh, I'm perfectly chill. This is why when I came into the room at first, I was so insistent upon establishing rules. And we all agreed on one rule, not to interrupt. I have not interrupted you.
Okay, Steve, go right ahead, man.
And that's a third time. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Just go ahead and state your case.
Yeah, you're wasting an enormous amount of time by filler material. Okay.
Well, trust me, Darth. I didn't come into this room to waste my time. One of the reasons why time is so precious to me, I'm 61 years old. You're 61 years old. I'm sure you and I can both agree that as we both get older,
You are
time
wasting time with this filler material. You're not speaking on the topic. Okay. Now, you say you don't believe in God. My question for you is, you are saying I don't believe in God. Is that simply merely the absence of a positive belief in God without the denial of the existence of God?
I would like to bring in the mods right now because that was part of the rules, and I would like to ask the mods if they believe I have addressed all of Darth's questions. If I have not, I will take pause for the mods, whatever the mods say. Have I or have I not addressed all of God's all of?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. Darth, could you repeat your question?
Yeah, this is about the fourth or the fifth time I've repeated the same question that obviously you as a professional man are incapable of understanding and answering. So we'll try it again. When you say you don't believe in God, are you communicating to us that it is merely and only an absence of a positive belief, which does not constitute the denial of the existence of God?
The answer to your
word salad.
Okay, do you deny the existence of God?
The answer to your
You can
question is
pause it for a
yes.
second.
Good. How is it that there is no God?
Okay.
I love the fact that Steve just tried to pull the mods in, right?
Yeah.
Because one technique that this guy loves to use is gaslighting, right?
Oh yes.
And the gaslighting is, you haven't answered my question. You haven't answered my question. You know, that's not an answer. So that's his kind of, it's either, you know, when things start to, you know, when Darth's asshole is starting to pucker a little bit, is it's just, you know, he's getting uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
As he, you know, in this tiny little blip of self-awareness that he has, he doesn't have much, right? It's just a little blip. It goes off and on. And when that blip goes off, you know, Darth then starts to, he will pick one of these two paths on the flowchart, right? It's either gaslighting or ad hominem.
Right.
And Steve caught this right away and literally asked two other people in the room to say, have I not, you know, implicitly and explicitly answered Darth's question?
Yeah.
And they could not, they could not respond. They were completely paralyzed. So, you know, he was just letting the audience know, like, I'm being gaslit. I need to ask two other people who are witnessing to this what's been going on here, and what the fuck did they do? Darth, can you repeat the question?
Right.
Face palm.
We've got a Christian in the side chat, Phantom Prophet. He's an long time Google Hangouter from way back when. Phantom Tom.
Oh yeah.
Phantom Prophet, he calls himself. We call him Tom Prophet.
Ah.
I'll open the room later on, but in the meantime, no. Because he's trying to. I'm asking him in the side chat to prove me wrong that God is that all gods are imaginary, and he's coming up with all sorts of bullshit. Maybe I'll share it later in the. I'll share the chat later, but in the meantime, we have a.
Well, maybe you can explain to him that we're doing a little bit of a breakdown right now, and
oh, he understands.
Yeah, good,
he understands.
Good deal. Good deal.
He understands. He's been around a while. Let's carry on.
For the third time, it has not been proven.
Okay, that's a non sequitur. Do you know what a non sequitur is?
Just interrupted.
Can Darth go on mute? Would that be okay? Thank you.
Sure, you could get.
Thank you. In fact, I would very much appreciate it. When I ask him a question, I'll go on mute. When he asks me a question, he can go on mute. I would appreciate that, but I know that's not an established rule. The answer for purposes of this conversation, no. I do not know what a non sequitur.
Okay, a non sequitur is a rationale that does not follow. Okay. The fact that something has not been proven to you to your satisfaction, it doesn't follow from that it does not exist. Okay, your position is God does not exist. The fact that you are unpersuaded as to the existence of God, it does not follow necessarily that God does not exist. That is a non sequitur. In addition, your position is a positive one. God does not exist. Okay, the not God world. What you're saying is the not God world is established or to be reckoned to be true because the God world has not been established to be true to your satisfaction. Is that your position?
No, that is not my position. My position is I do not believe in God. Whether or not that is true or false, I am not saying that. I am not trying to convince anybody else to follow my belief. Whether or not my belief is true or false is irrelevant. What I do know is that it is my belief that I do not believe.
Okay, do you have a rational basis for your belief that God does not exist?
Yes, for the fourth time, because it has not been proven to me.
Okay, I've already explained to you that you're committing the fallacy of an argumentum ad ignorantum. This is an informal fallacy. There's a long list of informal fallacies if you go to any logic website on the internet. One of those.
Oh, we're lagging and roboting a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No, it's
there
just,
we go.
It's just YouTubing being slow. It's actually not YouTube being slow. It's my system being slow. Sorry, everybody. Maybe I'll just fix it this way.
I just love the fact that Steve calls Darth out every single time he breaks rule number 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
All right, come on, YouTube.
I think we're on 4th so far, but
yeah, we're halfway through the whole debate, and they still haven't gotten anywhere.
Well, do you ever get anywhere with this guy?
Absolutely not. Slow mode is enabled. Why?
Oh, on your Discord chats? Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't. I thought that was something you set up maybe when the Muslim troll showed up the other day.
No. I don't know how that happened actually. I'll have to check it into it after this. If we ever get the stream back.
Yeah, I couldn't. I noticed it was on, but I Didn't
Yeah, no,
understand why.
Zez mentioned it yesterday, but I didn't understand what she was talking about. Now I just see that slow mode is enabled.
Now you
so,
get it.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. Not something that you need for a intimately familiar Discord server where you're not like flooded with users,
Exactly.
people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Texting and
One
chatting
of
and
those
memeing
fallacies
and
is the
throwing
argumentum
porn
ad ignorantum.
all
It's
at
called the
once.
appeal
Oh,
to
luckily
ignorance.
we're back.
That a proposition is deemed to be true if its negation has not been shown to be true. Now, do you understand the form of the argument to ignorance?
No.
Okay, I'll explain it again to you. We have two propositions. Both propositions are contradictory to each other. We have X and not X. X can represent the God world, not X can represent the not God world. Your position is not X.
This is
That
where
not
Darth is
X,
taking
the not
inference
God world,
rules
is
and trying
true.
to turn them into
When
arguments, and it
asked,
doesn't
how is
fucking
that
work.
true?
Right.
Okay, you say not X is true because X has not been shown to be true. That is your position. You've stated it several times. You believe God does not exist because God's existence hasn't been demonstrated to you. That is the classic fallacy of an argument to ignorance, that a proposition is true if its negation has not been satisfactorily demonstrated to be true. Do you understand now, after I've explained this the fourth time, how you're making what is called an argument to ignorance?
I understand, but I don't agree. And please go back on. Thank you. I understand everything that you said, but I do not agree with what you said. And the reason why I don't agree with what you said is because, unlike you, I'm not trying to convince everybody that what I'm saying is true. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. All I'm saying is that I don't believe in.
Okay, that is irrelevant what you're attempting to do. Okay, you have just denied that you have committed the fallacy of an
Is it
argument to
though?
ignorance. Okay,
Is it irrelevant?
is it your
He's
position
Because
gaslighting him.
what Steve
that
just said
God does not
is he's
exist
making zero truth claims.
because
Zero truth
God
claims,
has
right?
not been
Yes.
shown to be true?
And
Is that your position?
fucking pre-suppers, man, all they want to do all
My
fucking day
position is
long
I
is
don't
make truth
believe
claim
in
after truth
God
claim after truth
because
claim.
God, the existence of.
That's right. All right. I'm just going to put
Oh,
up.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, it's all right. I'm just going to reply to my friend Tom. See, he does agree that God begins in the imagination. This is a Christian. Anyway, we'll get to that later. We'll carry on with this.
Well, you know what? Look,
God has not been
people
proven
that
to me.
actually
Yeah,
take. Hang on.
you're
Go ahead and
repeating
pause it.
yourself again
I'm
for the
pausing.
People that
umpteenth
take
time. Your position.
Okay, it's paused. Go ahead.
I have a healthy respect for people that look at the Bible as an allegorical text, right? It's like it's a moral allegorical text. We have a lot of different examples of this in literature, and they go, it's and they can acknowledge that God is actually a concept, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that for them this concept is necessary in order for the religion to work, but they acknowledge that there's no concrete proof of existence, and b that this type of Christian is actually probably the closest you're ever going to get to an atheist anyway, because they're acknowledging God's a concept, and it's a concept that I carry around in my head,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it tends to be a private thing, right?
Correct.
That those conceptual type Christians are not the bullhorn on the corner kind of Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Might as well come from two different universes. I don't object to anybody who practices any religion that doesn't include solicitation or proselytizing to non-believers, right? And
Right.
there's many religions out there that that say even in their holy books, like, don't do this. It's really private. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do this with your family. You do this with your community. You know, it's not an outside tradition. The object is not to go out and conquer other countries and force other people to worship. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to make that completely clear, I don't hate Christians, you know, by any stretch of the imagination.
Really?
I try and actually respect them individually for what their beliefs are.
Yeah.
The Christians, however, that are over the top obnoxious, the proselytizers, the gaslighters, the people that are actually study psychology only to use it as a cult leader-esque manipulative tactic, right?
Mm-hmm.
To break down these concepts and go, oh, I can do this and I can do that, and I can literally force people to believe. To me, that's evil. To
Very
me,
much
that's
so, yeah.
perverse.
I agree.
You know? So
All right. So we can carry on?
yep.
Okay.
Is that God does not exist, correct?
I could also provide some clarification. So
Please,
Steve,
please don't. I asked Steve a question.
Okay.
Steve, is it your position that God?
Darth, please don't argue with the moderator.
I'm not arguing with him.
Darth,
I made a request.
No. The moderators.
Steve, I asked you.
Okay,
okay.
Tell you what,
Please
I'll
answer it. Yeah, I asked you a question. Okay, and you keep on coming back with the same shtick over and over again. I don't believe in God. Okay, we've heard this over and over again. Is it your position that God does not exist?
And I
He's
will
trying to
answer
get
that
him to
right
say,
now. It is my
it some other
position
way so he
that
can
the
bend him back onto
moderators
the
are
frickin'
in
Bible
charge.
script.
Hold on. What did you say?
I said, you know, he's trying to get him to say, look, he stated really, really clearly his position that it's a belief, that it's not a truth claim, and that it's evidence based, right?
Right.
And Darth is, and again, whenever somebody does this, whenever somebody is this fucking circumspect, to use a Darth word that he likes to weaponize, right?
Yeah.
When you're not circumspect, Darth at this point goes, oh fuck, I've got to try and get him to state his position another way. Where I can say, oh, you know what I mean, that doesn't make any sense, or it's a non sequitur, or you're muddying the waters, or you're rabbit trailing, or, you know. Because if you're circumspect right now, he's like, no, now I want you to expound on your ungodliness.
Unbelievable.
Right? I'm like, but it really, it's he just stated that the Trinitarian, the Trinity of atheism, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
No proof, no truth claims, you know, and that it's highly personal, you know.
Yeah.
I don't expect you as a Christian to understand, but hell, you know, seems pretty fucking clear to me.
Pretty much. Pretty damn much, I'd say.
All right, go ahead. We'll hit play, and I'll mute my mic. We'll listen for a bit.
Okay. It's how much they got left? 27 minutes to 40, so it's 13 minutes left.
I did not pick the moderators, Darth. You invited me into this room.
You are
Darth.
Okay, you are unsufferable. Okay.
Okay.
You are beyond obtuse as a human being.
One moment. Let's listen.
I asked you a simple question. I want a simple answer. Okay.
We'll have him answer. But yeah, so just a point of clarification, because I'd like for both parties to kind of understand each other. So so Steve, Darth is not really talking about like whether you believe that God exists or that you believe God doesn't exist, but more he's talking about the actual state of affairs.
Yeah, he perfectly understands, Theo. He understands. He's purposely being evasive.
So it's like, is it actually the case that God exists, or is it actually the case that
Here's
God
the question,
doesn't
and I'll
exist?
shut up. Steve, is it your position that God does not exist?
All right. I came into this room without agreeing to the moderators. I presumed, and so far the moderators have been doing an excellent job. Theo and Enlightened, thank you. I agreed that
That's
the first thing
incredibly
I wanted
generous.
to do was establish the rules. The only rule we established is that there would be no interruptions between me and Darth. I have not interrupted Darth. Darth has interrupted me a couple of times, but I think that we should establish that when the moderators speak, both Darth and Steve, regardless of what the moderators are saying, Darth and Steve should go on mute and let the moderators speak. Darth, do you agree with that?
I am waiting for an answer to my question. Is it your position that God does not exist?
That
This is about
devil
the seventh
civility.
time I've asked.
And
he's such an
once
asshole.
again, when I go into debates, and Darth, I'm assuming you've had debates before.
If you don't stop with this ridiculousness, it's the conversation, the dialogue is going to be over. This is the same shtick that you pulled the last several times I talked with you. I just asked you a straightforward question.
He's
This is about the
losing his
seventh
shit
time I've asked a
now.
question.
He's lost it.
Is it your position that God does not exist? And I'm now.
He's
Go ahead,
starting to
Steve.
turn purple.
I don't believe in the existence of.
That's not a direct answer to my question. That is a purposeful, evasive response. To not believe is not informative, because not believing can constitute
I just love
merely
how
the
Steve just
absence
tried
of a positive
to take a tiny
affirmation,
pause,
or
establish
it can
civility,
refer
and
to the
that just
denial
made
of the
Darth
existence
always
of God. Now,
fucking
I will
sad.
ask you an eighth time. When you say you do not believe in God, does that constitute the denial of the existence of God?
I would suggest now respectfully to the moderators that we bring up some members of the audience and ask them whether or not they think I have answered.
Okay,
Darth's
we're done.
question.
We're done. This is over. You're done. Remove him. We're done.
The one
This
thing
guy's a
with Darth
complete
is
a-hole.
when
He is
his behavior is
purposely
going to be
not
audited
wanting to
by
try to
other
dialogue.
people.
He is a supreme
Fuck
bullshitter.
that.
We're done. Okay? This is the same shit that he shoveled
Bye-bye,
out when I
Steve.
went in his rooms. Okay? He taunted me in the text messages. I was afraid to debate him. Okay? All we're getting is this verbal dog
No, you
and
didn't.
pony
You
show.
taunted him.
Okay?
Yep.
He was asked
Bullshit.
straightforwardly 7 times.
Projection.
When you say you don't believe
Indeed.
in God, does that constitute the denial of God? And he categorically refuses to give
And
a direct
again,
answer.
he always has
Here's
to
a
do this
clown
fucking
who
crowing
gave a
and
biographical
grandstanding
information.
after when the guy can't defend himself anymore. Like, boop, you're gone. And then, like,
He tells the
it's like,
moderators to kick him. Did you see that?
yeah. Oh, yeah. And he did it like instantly.
Yeah, you're gone, bye.
like freaking, to coin a Norman phrase here, they just, cut the dogs right off the chains and they went chunk chunk dead.
Right.
Just chased out.
So he basically just chickened out of this debate. Darth Dawkins did.
Yes, because
Yeah.
first Steve made an appeal to civility.
Yeah.
Because the civility was clearly breaking down really fast.
Right.
And he appealed to the moderators who were supposed to have absolute power over the debate. And boy, you saw that absolute power in action just then.
Exactly.
But most importantly, first he calls for civility, and then he says, "You know what? I'm not running the precept script anymore. We're getting nowhere." The moderators originally agreed at the end that they were going to take questions from the audience. And Steve goes, "Okay, let's bring some people up." And my first questions to the audience is, do you think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, what he did was that whole gaslighting thing. Yeah, he literally just put a wet sponge over the gas and just put it out and just like, we're not playing this fucking game. We're now asking other people to audit Darth's behavior, and that's unacceptable. Because heaven for fucking fend, there be some centrist-minded person who's really in the middle, right? Maybe they're, agnostic deist or something like that. And they look at this and they go, okay, here's this one guy who's really trying to play by the rules and be really honest and be really transparent from beginning to end. And here's Darth. And they're going to be, and Steve is now asking me to comment on Darth's behavior. Darth is not going to tolerate that. No way. He wouldn't even take his chances with a Christian at this point.
No,
not after
the
that.
only way he's going to win anything is if he has total control of the mute button and the kick button.
Or he's got it, or he's literally got two highly trained dogs on either side of him, right? That, I mean, the moment he clicks his fingers, they just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, hopefully.
And when Steve asked them, tried to put out the gaslight the first time and said, now mods, I feel like I've answered this question multiple times now.
Yeah.
Have I answered this question? And the mods turn around and they're like, sorry, what was Darth? And then I said, Darth, could you repeat the questions that you asked him?
Right.
As if they haven't heard those exact questions, phrased the exact same way to 10,000 times already.
Indeed.
But where it got really funny at the end was when Steve implied, it's like, well, Darth, I think you've debated lots of people, but you're not really acting like you have because you can't even follow a 2-rule debate.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a 3-part structure where at the end we're going to take questions and it's just like, oh, fuck that. No. No questions from the audience. No questions, period. Kicks him, and then it looks like he grandstands and crows for another 10 minutes. So
Indeed.
It's up to you if you want to play that part. That part for me is kind of nauseating and a bit frustrating because it's like kicking a cripple, right? If you oh, sorry, that's a very bad word. It's like kicking a disabled person or a blind person or something. It's completely, you know what I mean? It's completely dirty and unfair to tear this guy apart after he's behaved in a completely civilized way after you've kicked him out of the room where he can't possibly, I can't remember whether he comes back and defends himself though. Maybe we.
Well, it's 9 minutes left. Let's listen in.
Yeah.
And then they'll open the room.
Oh, it's just this part is just the Legion of Doom shit, where he's back in there with his toadies and,
All right. Let's do it.
About himself, bragged about it, that he's a professional man, right? Yet he cannot answer the most straightforward questions when it is repeated over and over and over and over and over again with him. Okay?
So
we're
it's
done.
a workman's compensation.
It will
guy.
be pointless
You
to
don't know
carry on the
anything about
conversation
lines
another
of
20,
questioning.
30, 40,
No.
45 minutes because he will just bullshit the way he is entirely bullshitted the whole way time. He is smart enough,
This guy
he's
makes
educated
dental
enough,
appliances
he
and now
knows what
tortures
I'm
his mother
asking,
for a
and he
living.
was steadfastly refusing to answer the question while pretending to answer the question. Okay? He's purposely being deceitful and deceptive. So we're done with that fake, phony, and fraud.
Well, I just want to say, thank you, Steve, for engaging in.
Don't thank him. Don't thank him. This guy shows up and he
I don't
did
know
a verbal
they
dog
kicked him
and pony
completely
show.
from the room or
He
just
was
kicked him
one
down
of the
to the
most
audience.
insincere
He has to
phonies
sit
I've
there
ever
and listen
encountered
to Darth
on Clubhouse. This guy wasn't sincere at all.
Thank him.
Okay, I'm
screams so loud and clips his fucking microphone.
Yeah, they probably kicked him down, and he's just being obnoxious now. I agree with you. I do.
Maybe I'll review the last 6 minutes of it later just to confirm that Steve didn't, hand raise his way back onto the stage and tangle with it for another 20 or 30 seconds before Darth screams until his microphone clips, and that's of course the unwritten signal for the attack dogs to go in and kick.
All right, so
Stop thank him. Like, oh my God, man. Fuck, Darth. The guy came to you on Christmas, is probably in the middle of a really nice party,
Mhm.
and to talk to you for fucking 30 minutes and and typically in the end of a debate, well, typically the end of a debate doesn't mean that somebody is kicked off the stage for not breaking any of the
Exactly.
debate rules.
Exactly. Exactly. So what I
Oh
think we're
my
going to do
God.
now is we're going to open the room to all those who are in here, firstly. And I'd say welcome to
Mm.
Mrs. Earth Angel. Welcome.
Go ahead and close the stream out so I can go back in.
Close the stream out. What do you mean? Oh, just stop that.
You're yeah, there you go.
Like that? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Hello, Sid.
Yeah.
Hiya. Hopefully,
Hello.
I've got sound.
Yeah, you have sound and we can hear everybody. All good. So
Good.
I want to have a look and see what our friend Tom Prophet wrote in the side chat, which I thought was very, very revealing. He says, I know I reposted it, so I don't know.
Is it in the law? Is it in the prove me wrong? Because I only
Oh,
see.
there it is. There it is. He says, I am happy to play with the concept of the idea your question raises. It is a good question which inspires good thinking because it acknowledges God or gods do indeed begin in the imagination. And that comes from a Christian.
Well, as a conceptual Christian, I can say that that's probably one of the more honest positions you can take
Pretty much.
as a
Eh?
theist.
Yeah.
Because and my experience is conceptual Christians are not bullhorn Christians. They are not bang on your door at fucking 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday sort of Christians.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is obnoxious behavior to to intrude on the sanctity of one's home during the period of the week when most people are trying to relax or sleep in or enjoy their personal lives. It's a huge interruption. But
Yeah.
and the funny thing is that I was initially told, oh, you want to get rid of Jehovah's Witnesses, just leave your on sleep-in days, leave your front door open and your security screen bolted and shut,
Yeah.
and just leave your dogs out. And when these people bang on the doors, if you have really territorial dogs, they'll really hit the security screen and bark and snarl at them, and it will scare them away. And they'll make a note that, like, on their little dog book, that, oh, this address has really aggressive dogs, and maybe not come back.
Tom,
And Sydney, that did not work.
I didn't strawman Tom. I repeated verbatim what you wrote about God being imaginary. You agree with me, and that's where it starts, and you agreed with me. So what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to lie about what you said. You said it. And I just copy pasted. I am happy to play with the concept of the idea your question raises. It is a good question which inspires good thinking because it acknowledges God or gods do indeed begin in the imagination. That's right. It acknowledges that they begin in the imagination because that's where they begin.
Right, but a
Nowhere
conceptual
else.
God doesn't mean it's a concrete existing God. That conceptual God doesn't do anything. It lives in the hearts and the minds of the followers.
And I said that is from a Christian. Yes, you are a Christian. So, and you said that. So what's wrong with that there, Tom? Come in and talk to us, Tom. Come and have a chat. Let's have a chinwag. Alpha, have you met Miss Earth Angel?
No. You have to introduce me to your friends when they drop in.
Yes, this is Miss Earth Angel, and she's my friend.
Excellent.
Hi, El.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet
I'm
you.
good. I'm good, thanks. Nice to meet you too. I was just there in one of the chats and I saw that picture of the dog's behind and I immediately saw a Jesus Christ figure and I was like, how interesting. It was a good post, good pic.
It's part of our human, our evolutionary brain. We have this interesting pattern recognition software that goes in that allows us to see images of things when they're not actually there. And Jesus in the dog's ass, I'm sorry, it's just one of my favorites of all time. Sid, you might not be aware of this, but in your Discord server, I don't think we can drop images in anywhere else but not safe for work. And that was, to me, the dog's ass was a bit tame for that that channel that you have. So
Oh, and prove me wrong. You want
it might be something in your settings where you have to open that up.
Yeah,
But
probably.
I mean,
I'll-
I've got my favorite one is this billboard. I think it was actually posted in the South, which would be a really kind of a volatile place to do this. But this is what the billboard said.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
this. Religion is like a penis. It's fine if you have one. It's fine if you're proud of it. But please do not whip it out and show it to everybody that walks by, or something along those lines. You know what I mean? It was, it was just
Like,
really,
you know,
really
people
funny.
look-
Yeah, keep your religion in your pants.
Yeah.
Right? It's the best place to keep your weird irrational beliefs is to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it to yourself. So we have to rid this earth of evangelists. They are
Oh, wow.
stifling progress. So
I would agree with that 100%.
Those
I was
type
going to
of real
clarify
hard.
before. I don't hate Christians, but I absolutely loathe the more extremist forms of their ideology. I think it's just as bad as Islam. I don't really have a category as to which ideology I have a bigger problem with. I really hate them both.
between Christianity and
But
Islam.
the people that practice, I can feel anything from pity, to to just nothing at all,
Tom,
to
just press
actually
the
sometimes even liking.
Tom, just press the link at the top of the chat. Al Gore says, young Earth creationists are a threat to society, and I agree.
Yes, as are climate change deniers, as are vaccine deniers, so any sort of science denier, really. The further we progress as a people, the more that kind of thinking is really going to fuck things up.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've asked Tom to come in. I pressed the link. It took me to the Discord lobby, and I'm in there. Oh, Discord lobby. Hold on a sec. I'll take care of you in a minute.
Perhaps he doesn't have the
Yeah, he doesn't.
he doesn't have Discord installed.
No, he does. He just doesn't have a role. I'm gonna give him one right now. Actually, he's a Christian, isn't he? All right.
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
All right, come on in, Tom. I'm in the prove me wrong voice chat, not that one. This one here.
Oh, this.
I'll just bring him up. There we go. Hello, Tom.
Hello.
There we go. Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. I haven't seen you for a
Where's
while.
the screen? Where can I see the screen where everyone's in? I'm in the Discord group. I've got says hey there.
No, you're not. You're
Then
in
it
the
me.
prove me wrong
Discord
voice
is
chat.
shit.
If
Discord
if
is
you
shit.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so what's your problem? What's the problem?
I can't see who's in the room, who I'm talking to, or anything.
Well, click on the
I'm
prove me wrong.
I'm in like a chat room.
Stop talking and let
Right.
me figure you out here. I'll tell you how to fix
Go on,
it.
yeah.
I'll fix it. Okay.
Right, yeah. Prove me
Right.
wrong.
Right. Now, where it says prove me wrong, just click on that.
I'm a yellow box, you're a green box. You got
There you
Alpha and Earth Angel. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, sweet.
There you go.
What you want
Here
to
we
do is
are.
put a link to this. You want to put a link to this in your side chat.
Didn't
Because
I?
the other link took me to some rules and actions or lobby or something,
Oh,
or
sorry about that.
NSFW or something.
I'll change it.
It stuck me into a text channel.
Yeah, but if you go to a text channel, you can just the reason you went to a text channel.
I see how it works now. You got.
I think
Go
it's
on,
because
sorry.
you weren't you didn't have a role, but anyway, you do now.
Yeah.
So what
It
did
put
you
me in
mean?
the text channel.
What did you
Go on
mean
then.
that?
Yeah.
What did you mean when you said that all gods do start in the imagination?
From our point of view, they don't. They do, don't they? Because I mean,
They have to.
anything
There
starts.
is no other way.
Well, yeah, but then science also starts in the my argument, not argument, the sort of point I'm trying to make to you is just because something starts in the imagination doesn't mean it's false. It seems to me, now I might be
Everything
wrong,
starts
but
in
it
the
seems to me.
imagination. The Eiffel Tower started in the imagination.
Yeah, and they become true, don't they?
Yeah, but God
Because
it doesn't get anywhere. It doesn't advance out of the imagination.
Yeah, the problem is that you can't make an analogy on a physical thing. Like we can imagine a big, tower of steel, and then, 5 or 8 or 10 years later, with the labors of men, we have the Eiffel Tower. It doesn't really track,
No, but it does track, because
it
if you go
doesn't.
back, I'm only saying, if you let me explain, right? It does track, because that's the process of logic and science that took me to to me it's inevitable conclusion that something made this universe, the Big Bang, with reason and purpose. And I'll tell you why, because you go back through history and you think, right, where do I come from? I come from my mother. Where's my mother come from? Her mother. And you go back and you go back. And it eventually leads us to something like the Big Bang.
Everything leads back
And
to
then
the
we
Big
say,
Bang.
Everything. No, but then what happened before the Big Bang?
Exactly.
This is
Before
where
that is not. It's not.
Can you let me? Can I explain my position,
no, because
and then you
because
argue
before
it?
the Big
Or
Bang,
do you want to argue
before
it
the
before
Big
I've
Bang,
made it?
yeah, I'll make your argument for you. Before the Big Bang, we had
Yeah.
natural. Okay, before the Big Bang, we can't deny that there was mass and there was gravity. There was energy and there was gravity.
No,
We
there
can't
was
deny
there
that.
was no space or time.
We can't deny
There was
that
no space or time.
because the Big Bang
But
actually.
Sid, there was no space or time before the Big Bang.
Did I say space? Dude, excuse me, Tom.
Gravity exists then.
Tom.
So where does this gravity and mass exist if there's no space for it to exist in?
Don't make
and
me
no time for it
mute
to
you, man.
exist
I'm talking. Don't make me mute you.
But
Okay?
I was talking before you interrupted me.
Well, you asked the question. Where did this? Firstly, you straw man me. I said there was gravity
No, you straw man me.
I said there was gravity and mass
You
at
said
the
I was a
time.
Christian. I'm not a Christian.
I'm
a non-believing theist.
At the time of the
non-religious.
At the time of the big.
I suspected as much.
I don't think he's listening. I don't think he has hearing. At the time of the
I'm
Big
listening.
Bang.
Yeah,
okay. All right, you're listening. At the time of the Big Bang, there was mass or energy, and there was gravity, because that's what became the universe. We know that. We can't say there was nothing, because there was something.
No, you don't know that. We don't know that. We hypothesize. They're imagining that. This is where I'm saying that science is very akin to theology.
You're wrong.
Here's
Tom.
the problem,
imagination.
Tom.
You're wrong, Tom.
You're pushing the boundaries. You're pushing the boundaries of knowledge of theoretical physics. Okay, and for me,
that's why it's called theology. Do you know
It's a
that's
pointless
why this
exercise.
whole topic? Do you understand that that is why this whole topic is called theology? Because it's about theories.
Theology
It's
is
about
fiction.
you
Mythology
cannot.
is fiction.
You can I finish?
No, because
Can I finish
when you
any,
say
any of my
theology,
points?
you have to admit that theology is fiction. You have to admit it.
No, it's theories. Theories of science. Every
Theology
scientific
is theory of
You know,
science.
yeah,
That's
they're
not
called them
my
scientific
understanding of
theories.
the definition of that word, sir.
That's
You know
funny.
about the theory of gravity, right? Do you think?
Theology is the
Do
theory
you
of science.
Oh dear.
Do you think gravity is a certainty or a constant?
Listen, gravity is right in front of your face. What do you think?
I have no reason to believe the contrary, but you are not using
Is it a
the
constant?
definition of theory correctly here.
Correct.
Because theory has its own definition within the boundaries of science. And it is not absolute knowledge. It's so yes. So you know, there is no, that's why they call it the theory of gravity, is that there is no absolute measure of it. What we can observe, however, is what we have on this planet and these planetary forces. That's why they still call it the theory of gravity. We don't know how it works in the middle of a fucking black hole. So that considered, right? It's one of those slippery words that means a lot of different things in a lot of different contexts. That's all.
No, it doesn't. It means the same thing in every context. It means it's an unproven.
No,
It hasn't been
that's
proven yet.
words. That's not the way words work.
You're misunderstanding the meaning. You're being patronised.
Theory,
You're
you know,
patronised.
germ
Telling me
theory.
that I don't know the meaning of words. There is a reason that scientists use the theory word in their theory. Once it becomes proven, it's no longer a theory. It's like conspiracy theory. The minute it's proven, it's no longer a theory. It becomes a fact.
I don't know if
Do
we
you know
have any
why they
absolute scientific proofs.
If
You're
you-
using proofs
if
in an
your
area
ego
that
will let you, if
no,
your
it's
ego will let me
theoretical physics.
finish,
It's the wrong topic. We're
you
flipping
see,
all
I've
over
come
topics
in. I've
here.
said since I've come in, I've not been able to finish a single point, and you see how you're jumping on different things, going off at tangents. You haven't heard my points yet. I'm trying to paint a broad picture which covers lots of different minutiae, right? And you're jumping on like little spring chickens, trying to jump on all the different points as I'm trying to paint this big picture. If you would give me the decorum to finish my broad stroke picture, right, and then we can go rewind and go back over all the minutiae after.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
You see, this is the problem.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Atheists.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
They
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Jesus
long
fucking
vision.
Christ, this guy just won't shut up. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to mute my mic until you've finished. And then when you're finished, so you don't complain about everybody talking over you all the time and interrupting you, we'll carry on. Is that fair enough? Okay, so I'm going to mute and you talk until then. Tell us when you're finished so we can join the conversation.
That'd be brilliant. Thank you. Am I muted? Am I unmuted?
No.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're fine.
Yeah, right. So the reason I believe in there is a God concept is because of this. Where did I come from? My mother. It's a logical scientific process, right? And it takes us back to something like the Big Bang. This is broad strokes, right? There's 1,000,001 points we can argue over on this path, right? Just bear with me. Once we get back to the Big Bang, this is where the time and space and the science we know today comes in. The laws of physics, gravity, chemistry, biology, they only apply from that point of the Big Bang onwards, which is the realm we live in. That to me is like a metaphorical fish tank. So we live within that fish tank. Whatever made that fish tank, whatever made the Big Bang, existed outside of this time and space, right? I think we can all agree on that, because something can't make something, right? If a God exists, big if, I'll grant you that it's a big if. This is where it's all part of the imaginary. If something existed and it created the Big Bang that we all evolved from, it's not in that system. It's not in that biosphere. It's not in that environment. It's not in that universe. It's outside of this realm, right? Now, all we know from our observable point of view is the laws of science and everything of our universe that we live in. So that's our how long's a meter, the yardstick measurement, right? So our understanding of our existence is all built around what we observe, see, smell, taste, touch, our senses within this realm. Now, we can take this back to the Big Bang. Now, whatever happened or existed or was around before the Big Bang is no longer, this is the important bit, pre-Big Bang is no longer conforming to our science as we know it. So it might be possible to have a mind without a brain. It might be possible to have intention without a body. All these things, all this doubt, yeah, and it's all part of the imagination, I grant you that. But this is where it leads from and to, is you notice patterns in life. So, right, all I know for sure is the science and the rules we have today. Now, one key rule that I've learned through life is something can't come from nothing. There's got to have been something for something to come from it, right? I've never, ever, ever witnessed something just pop up out of the blue with no reason. There's always a reason and a logic behind it. There's always some science behind it. So for the Big Bang to have been created, for time, space, matter, gravity to have come into existence, there must have been something before it. Now, this is where I bring the God concept. I'm not claiming to know what God is, what its intentions are, or anything. All I know is that something cannot come from nothing. So my baseline assumption is that there was something before the Big Bang. There was something. Now, my leap of faith, this is where my leap of faith and all a myriad of assumptions come in, is I'm willing to bet through observing life, what was before life is probably something similar to it, or life's got attributes from that precursor, from that datum point. It's got reason, because everything seems to happen through all the chemicals we live amongst, all the minerals, for the rocks, the trees, the woods, everything. Look at what it's given us, laptops where we can communicate around the world. And so all this, I can't help. I'd be ignorant if I thought all this just happened by accident. That's how I feel. It's feelings. My feeling, where did my fucking feelings come from? Can we measure a feeling? How do I measure a feeling? This wondrous life we're living in, and we've got all this proof of, like, look, all these rocks and minerals were put here so that when we learn to work together, we can make laptops and stuff, so we can argue about whether God exists or not. Fucking brilliant. And that's where I come to this. Before the Big Bang, and it's echoed in religions, God made us in the image of himself. Now, I even go one step further. My imagination thinks that we are here to create God. God's going to be we think he's the input. I think he's going to be the output. I think when we're all long gone, millennia to come, it may be AI. I don't know what the fuck's the plan is. maybe God has somehow self-manifested itself and we're just part of the process. And for anyone that thinks evolution negates God, you're an idiot. Because that's like saying, oh, there is no designer of a car because I've seen the production plant. I've seen the production line. There was no designer because I've seen how it was made. Evolution is how we were made, how we're being produced, how we're progressing.
Is it
So,
okay if
well,
I
I think
interject?
I've outlined enough now. If someone wants to join in.
We've yeah.
Are you done?
Well, we've heard you. There's a lot of different topics that you covered.
Well, that's
and,
life.
And here's the deal. When you started off in the side chats and you said that, you know, God starts off with imagination, right? That's where I'd like to begin, because I personally believe that all gods, whether it's the Hindu God, the Muslim God, the Christian God, the deist God, the theist God, they're all conceptual to me. So I have to make my position clear to you in order for us to have an honest back and forth, okay?
Yeah, yeah, appreciate it.
One thing I was trying to say before is that what you're discussing is, you know, we've thrown out a lot of grand mysteries in life that this is part of the human condition to contemplate these things. Why am I born? Why do we die? What's my purpose in life? Who's running this show? You know what I mean? These are all really, really big questions that don't really have concrete answers. But when you start to go into the something can't come from nothing. Hang on. Yep.
Sorry to interrupt though, but can't you see that the fact that you're having all these questions, they're conceptual questions that are beginning in your imagination. You're imagining, well, why am I here? What am I here for? Do you not see this is all integral to what we call the imagination? I mean, this is kind of my argument with Sid.
I see these are as existential questions that come up as part of being a human being, and I don't think they're existential questions that people ask themselves, that all people ask themselves. Clearly, you have asked yourself these existential questions.
Where do you draw the line between conceptual and imagination then? Because I think, to me, they're almost one of the same.
I don't know. I don't think they're the same. I don't think they're
But to conceive of something is to imagine it. Is that not right? If you conceive of something, you're creating a mind picture in your head.
You're getting into conceptual abstractions, sir. Here's the thing.
But that's what imagination
what is
is.
loneliness? Okay, are you saying that loneliness is a product of imagination? I don't. I see that as a human condition. I see that some people are lonely and other people are not. Is loneliness tangible? Is that something you can put your finger on? No.
Hold on, to pick up on that point. Hold on, to pick up on the point. Loneliness wouldn't count. Loneliness is a condition that humans go through. You don't have to imagine lonely. We know loneliness exists. It's when human beings are isolated from other social beings.
No, I'm sorry. That's not no.
You don't have to imagine that.
When you're surrounded by
what
people.
I'm saying is you don't have to imagine that exists. We know that exists.
It's
That's
conceptual,
like imagining
which means that it waffles between the concrete and the imaginary. But because it's part of the human condition, I would say it's outside. It's outside of the imaginary, sir. The imaginary is highly personal a lot of the time. It can be full of delusions and deceptions and very strange things. So that's what I think of when I think of imaginary. You know,
to the mind of the observer, in the mind of the observer, if someone feels lonely, they feel they're not imagining it. They feel
Sure.
lonely.
Sure. Gosh, I'm not negating the
In
feeling of
fact, I'd say
loneliness.
loneliness is
I
more
say it's
concrete
not
than God.
imaginary.
You know what I mean? That's more certain than God. You know. But my sort of the thing I take up with Sidney is he seems to be equating imaginary with false, and that's a false dichotomy. That's the first step, I think, in correcting, not the thinking, like who the fuck am I to correct your thinking, but to correct the statement or to correct the argument, you need to not have such a close association between the word imaginary and false, because I think that's what Sid, I mean, correct me, Sid, if I'm wrong, but that seems to be what you're implying, that gods are imaginary, therefore they're false.
They're
And
not false.
just
They
because
don't exist. They don't exist. They're not false. You don't understand. There is no God. Falsity doesn't it's not part of this conversation. I don't know why you
can't
brought it up.
classify it.
So gods don't exist, so they're false. Yeah.
No, they don't
So
exist.
Your question is, all gods are imaginary, prove me wrong. And I'm saying you're equating that with false.
I didn't
And
say
you're
no.
saying, no, I'm wrong.
Prove me
Gods
wrong.
don't exist.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
No, but you're telling me I'm just interpreting your question, right?
You don't have to
and my
interpret
interpretation.
All gods are imaginary.
No.
Prove me wrong. It's not a question.
Yeah, but I'm interpreting that question as in by imaginary you mean false, and you've just confirmed that yes, that's
I just
what
said to
you
you,
mean.
it's not a question. Where's the question mark? All gods are imaginary, period. Prove me wrong, period. That's not a question.
Those are declarative
Right,
statements.
you're being semantic now, right? The point I'm trying to make to you, Sid, or ask you, Sid, by using the word imaginary, are you trying to equate that with being false? So what you're saying is all gods are false because they're imaginary, therefore they must be false.
All gods don't exist. How's that?
Now that's a different question to me, because by imaginary, but imaginary is a better question because it opens up the mind to thinking, well, what is imaginary? My mind could, like I said to you, I made a laptop tray today. That laptop tray didn't exist before I imagined it. First, I needed it. I mean, that was, that's
but
key
all the ingredients,
philosophical.
all the
we're
ingredients,
making analogies about physical manifestations.
all the ingredients for your laptop tray, all your ingredients for your laptop tray did exist before the laptop tray came into existence itself.
That's what I'm saying to you. Yeah, exactly. Oh, brilliant! Right, this is exactly the line of thinking I went through.
Right, now
to
God
discover.
doesn't exist. Prove me wrong.
Right, I imagine something. Right, I imagined something in my head. I conceptualized it. Right, I was like, right, I need something. I need a laptop tray. Right. Then I thought, right, this is what I want it to look like. Then I thought, right, what materials and tools do I have at my disposal that could enable me to make this thing? Now, this is where I think of, like, maybe this is like what God thinks. We are like our master. We are like our father. We are like our mother. Maybe this is what God, whatever realm God was in before the Big Bang, maybe he's in this realm. I need something.
Tom,
I need something. Hold on, let me finish this.
Tom,
this is a crucial.
Hold on a second. Whenever you say maybe and if,
I'll be really quick with this.
No,
Sid,
you've been hogging the microphone.
So realm,
get to your point.
Whatever realm God was in before the Big Bang, he thought, I need something. So therefore, what materials and equipment do I have at hand to make the thing I need? Right now, big assumption, I'll grant you that. Big assumption to me is that God, whatever realm he was living in before time and space and everything, can't even conceptualize where God lives or what it is. Or anything.
Now, where did God come from? Tell us where God came from.
We know through the laws.
First,
we know through the laws.
No. Stop. No. We've had enough.
We know through the laws of conservation.
Tell us where this God came from. If you're so sure that something cannot come from nothing. If you're so sure that something cannot come from nothing, where did your God come from?
Yes, I asserted it over and over and over again.
No, I've just told you that.
Where does your
But
God
what I'm
come
trying
from?
to get to is we
Can
know
I
from
speak?
our laws of science tell us that
We
Didn't
don't
ask you
need
that. I
we
didn't
don't need
ask you that. I asked you, where did your God come from?
you're avoiding this is a crucial bit that you're avoiding because you
No,
just don't want to.
we're not avoiding it. I literally tried to bring it up.
You don't actually
Hold on,
want to
hold on.
hear what my view
You're
is.
right over the top of me.
You just want to tell me I'm wrong without
Okay,
knowing
hold on,
what it
guys,
is.
guys.
You think I'm wrong
Let's go on to the second point. Okay, because
Whatever
we've
ground
listened to him
prophecy-
give that for just it's just going on.
We can't hear both of you if you talk at the same time. Okay.
Okay, I literally tried to bring this up, and the moment I did, you ran right over to me, and that's a defensive response as far as I'm concerned. So let me talk about this second point. This something from nothing shit.
All right.
Because we got to bury this right now.
Exactly.
Okay.
I agree.
You are
you know about
treading
the laws of
into the realm of-
conservation of
Let
energy.
her finish.
Shut up and let me
Let her
talk.
finish, Tom.
You are treading into the realm of theoretical physics. There isn't a fucking theoretical physician in here, first and foremost. Second of all, okay, theoretical physicians have a concept of nothing that you and I cannot grasp. We don't have the educational background for it. We don't have the theoretical background for it. Nothing. But this whole something from nothing shit, even when there was nothing, there was something, okay? But you and I cannot understand exactly the mechanisms of how this works. So as you're saying, well, something can't come from nothing, that this disembodied mind farted an entire universe into existence on a whim. Okay? This doesn't track. You're deliberately going into a world, into an unanswerable question, claiming to have an answer. And it's not. Sorry.
You're countering the point that I never
You
made.
absolutely said something
if
cannot
you had
come
the
from
brains-
nothing. Therefore,
if you had the brains
a
or the
theistic or
inclination-
theistic God made the world. That because science operates some other way in your concept of a God, he can be this all-powerful body and all-powerful mind without a body with a measurable power that cannot be measured. It just goes around in fucking crazy circles. And how can we dispute this? You're literally treading into a topic that none of us are equipped to deal with. If Lawrence Krauss was in here, he'd kick your ass on this something from nothing shit. Because there's this entire theoretical nothing before space-time, and again, we're outside of our realm of knowledge. Why are we running thought experiments on this?
Well, here's my take. I say then there never was nothing. Before the Big Bang, there was still something. So Tom's claim that there was nothing before the Big Bang is false. That's the falsity of
It's
your
absolutely
argument,
false.
Tom.
It's absolutely false. It's only a theoretical nothing.
Yeah.
But again, it's not something that you and I can even conceive of. We might as well contemplate where God came from. It's just as dumb of a question, really.
It's just as valid a question.
It's outside of our academic purview.
And
so why would you even touch it?
It's just as valid a question too.
So,
where did God come from?
Can I just ask you what you think my point? I was saying that something came from nothing. Is that what you think?
Yes, that's what you said.
No, you said something cannot.
No, that's what I said. That's what I was talking about before you interrupted. No, that was what I was said before you interrupted me.
So if something cannot come from nothing,
I was actually trying to make the point that something cannot come from nothing.
So,
and the laws of conservation of energy tell us that energy can only be transferred from one form to another. Therefore, for the Big Bang to have happened and for all that energy to have come from something, there had to have been a different realm than the one we live in for energy to be transferred from that realm into this realm.
So does that mean that energy did not exist before the Big Bang?
So you've just spent 10 minutes arguing a fucking point.
Are you saying that energy did not exist before the Big Bang? Tom.
Now you're being deceptive.
Yeah.
No, now I'm pointing out why you should learn. You've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And if you genuinely want to like debate someone on their points, you might want to actually listen to their point.
Listen, we don't need a lecture from you about how to debate,
We
okay?
listened to you go on for like 6 minutes without a word.
You're roboting.
It's like watching a bouncing horse, you know.
The fact is, there was nothing. There's never been a nothing, and I don't think Tom
This
has
is such a shit show.
Tom has an
Such a shit
inability to
show. Oh my God.
Tom has an inability to grasp that there never was a nothing.
Straw man. Alpha even pointed out a point I was going to raise, that physicists, specifically quantum physicists, have even come up with a new definition of nothing.
Anything about quantum? Right? You dare to put that keyword in my
I'm
mouth.
saying quantum. Get over yourself, love. I'm trying to tell you what I think.
But again, you're trying to steer me
my point. Right. If you want to argue against me, actually listen to what my point is and then argue against that, because you've spent 10 minutes arguing against the point I never made.
But the thing is, Tom, hold on. Tom, we gave you as much time as you needed to say what you wanted to say. And now that you've said it, and we want to have our chance to say something, why don't you give us the courtesy of allowing us to finish our point and not interrupt? How's that sound to you? Okay, great.
The courtesy to let me finish my points when I raised.
I gave you that courtesy. We've all given you that courtesy, and you finished.
Oh, so that's it. My one and only chance. That's it. Then that's all right. I'll see you later. Then I might as well.
So you're gonna run away. You're gonna run away.
No,
I'm not run away. I don't care.
If I'm not allowed to make another point, what's the point me hanging around?
No, you can make your point. You can make your point, but
I'm making my point, and she's interrupting. You're interrupting. She's talking over me right now as I'm telling you that she's interrupting.
When we gave you,
can't help herself.
When we told brains
you, get triggered.
When we told you that we would stay muted while you said your shtick, and you did. You took a full 5 minutes to say what you wanted to say. No one interrupted you, but as soon as we start responding, all you do is interrupt. So we'd like to start fresh. No interrupting. Let us adults each finish our point before the next person talks. Can we try that?
Right. Can I just say one thing, Sid? I only interrupted because I could see she was going down a line of questioning, debunking me saying that something come from nothing. Well, that wasn't my point. So I was trying to interrupt.
I literally never said that.
See, she's literally interrupting me now. You're going to pull her up or you pull me up? No, she's on the inner circle. Right, see, this is how debates work in these circles. If you're a friend or if you agree with them, they'll let you interrupt. But if you don't
agree, what are you talking about?
Not allowed to interrupt. Well, yeah, but you can't debate for shit with Sidney, be honest. And you can't moderate. You're even worse at moderating.
So why don't you go to a room? Why don't you go to a room that have? Why don't you go to a room? Why don't you go to a room that has better moderation and better debaters? Because if I can moderate and I can debate, what the fuck are you doing in here?
They're just not live right now. But my point is, Sidney, like Alpha, I agree with Alpha, right? Yes, something cannot come from nothing. But the point she raised about physicists raising this new version of what nothing means, if you look into it, which I have done, and it is quantum physicists that have done it, which has now permeated through normal physicians and shit, right? Physics. They've redefined what nothing means, and when you analyze what that nothing is, it's actually something.
Okay.
So when we say, so they've basically created their own get out of jail free clause for the unanswerable question of what was before the Big Bang.
Fair enough.
And all they're putting is a big question. All they're putting is a big question mark that says something we don't know yet.
Now can we move
which
on?
I agree with.
Okay. We want to move on. Stop. I have a question for you.
Do you actually care about the debate, or is it just a win or lose to you?
We've already covered that.
Care about learning something.
We don't need to
This
go over
isn't
the
a
same thing
it's
twice.
a fucking lecture.
Stop it, stop it, stop it. Everybody, just stop.
No, but I'd say that's a
I said,
fascinating thing to learn.
everybody, stop. I'm gonna say something here. We don't want to go over and over and over again the same points. Let's move on. And my question to you,
That's the
Tom,
first
my
time
question
that
to you,
point's
excuse
come
me, my question to you, Tom, is if something cannot come from nothing, and I agree with you, and nothing ever existed, where the fuck did God come from? What was before God? And you have to give me an explanation that makes sense, please. Go ahead.
Right. Are you going to let me finish my
Absolutely,
explanation
absolutely.
without interruption?
Okay, so what are you going to answer?
Right.
What are you going to tell me?
Now, this is a well-trodden path.
Okay, hold on a
of
second.
the infinite...
Hold on a minute. What are you going to tell me? My
I'm
question was, where does God come from? Where did God?
Right.
God come from nothing, or where does God come from? Because if according to you, he can come from nothing, so he must have come from something. So let's hear it.
Do you want to pick the words I'm allowed to use to answer the question, or can I answer it?
I'm going to mute, and you can carry on.
Can I answer it in my own way then? Right, and I will answer it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a well-trodden path through the great debate community. It always comes up. They call it infinite regression. If God made the world, where did God come from? Blah blah blah. Now, atheists like to bring up this question because they wrongfully believe that science doesn't have the same infinite regression. Because all we know, this is what I was talking about earlier, all we can know for certainty is that the Big Bang or something like it created us, because we live in that realm. That's all our scientific tools give us the ability to measure. We can't measure anything before time, space, and gravity, and etc. happened. So pre-Big Bang is unknown to both scientists and theists, right? Theists take the leap of faith and say, well, whatever it was made us with reason and purpose. Scientists just think it was probably another chemical reaction that we don't know nothing about. It was in a different energy sphere, a different time, space continuum, blah, blah, blah. Quantum mechanics comes into it, all gets a bit muddy. There's 1,000,001 scientific theories pre-Big Bang, but both paths there. So you got the theist path of God made us. That is infinite regression because, yes, valid question, what made God, right? But then the scientists think that they're clever and they're negating the infinite regression, but they're not, because whatever process they eventually determined created the Big Bang, there's going to be the next question is, well, what made that process? And then when they find out that process, there's going to be the infinite regression of what made that process. So both paths have this infinite regression.
My question was, where does God come from?
And it doesn't strengthen either argument. And the simple question is, we don't know. But as quantum mechanics and physicists now put, but science puts a big question mark there as well. Science says we don't.
You just said you don't know where God comes from.
That one.
How can one conceptualize? First step is to conceptualize there is a God. That's a big enough step.
You said you don't know where God comes from.
Conceptualize where God comes from.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I asked you that question. You said you're going to answer it, and you didn't answer it.
That's the answer. That's the answer of dismissal. Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah, maybe that is where God comes from. Jesus Christ. Maybe you don't know how true your mocking words are.
You're digging really deep, and you're not getting anywhere.
No, I'm not digging deep at all. I'm talking truthful, because I'm not. If you can present an argument rather than mockery and dismissal, I might learn something today, but I'm pretty sure I won't.
You're not allowed me to present an argument. Whenever I challenge anything you say, you cut me off.
I mean,
and
you
then
might want to put your science to use and get a decent microphone or internet connection.
Be very disrespectful to Alpha, because you're cutting me off every time.
It's like Charlie Brown's teacher.
So you don't want to be respectful? Is that what you're saying?
Not really.
Oh, because I've been shown so much respect, haven't I? It's a
No,
good
you're
job
not
I'm
showing
not
any
a
respect.
Christian.
You're showing
Sidney.
misogyny. You're showing
I'm not a
misogyny.
Christian, so this does not cast any shadow on the good Lord Jesus.
You don't mind if
I'm not
if a female debates you, right? And she has the same
Oh,
rights as a
you
male, right?
Yeah? You one of them.
Good.
You're one of them. Oh, she's got a vagina, therefore shouldn't be treated equally.
What the fuck is this? This guy's he's on some really weird drugs. Can I?
Yeah, I can believe that actually.
No, what don't you understand that questioning?
Well,
You're
said,
telling me that
you
I've
said
got
you're
to
gonna
treat her
That's
special
hilarious.
You
because
said you're
she's a
gonna
female.
You said you're gonna explain
Oh
to
my
us where
God.
God comes from because he cannot
I've
come
got
from
to treat
nothing.
her special because she's got breasts and a vagina.
Yeah,
you just
Let's.
said.
Where does God come from? We haven't gotten the
She's
answer to that one.
female.
Stop.
You know she's
stop
female. Do you know
fantasizing.
nowadays it's not
Tom,
safe to assume
Jesus, fuck.
she
this
might
guy.
be you know, she might
Okay, stop fantasizing and answer the fucking question. There's no such thing as nothing. Where does God come from? Answer the question.
Go on then, what's the question?
Where does God come from?
Don't know.
What was before
Can I read
God?
that?
What was before God?
Yeah. Don't know.
Okay, so if you don't know, then why are you arguing when you don't know what was before the Big Bang? Why are you arguing for that? You don't know what was before the Big Bang, yet you're coming up with some Bobomyces bullshit that you're making up in your head.
So
What?
we can only have
What-
this.
what-
Are you saying
when
that
you
we
say
can
you
only
don't,
have
hold
this
on,
debate?
I haven't finished. When you said you don't know, I accept that answer. But when I say that all gods are imaginary, prove me wrong, and you say to me that I'm absolutely crazy in my in making that statement, and you have no way to prove me wrong, other than to say, well, I'm an atheist. What do I know? Then you've absolutely lost the plot. We need to find out. We need to find out from you, just like we asked you, where does God come from? And you said you would answer, and now you're not answering. So please answer.
Sid, you've got to stop making straw mans, mate.
Just answer the question. Just answer the question. Come on.
Yeah, you basically are telling me, right? I want to ask you a question, and I want you to use these words to answer it. Because you're limiting my scope of the answer to yes or no. Is there a God? Yes. What was before? No, don't know. You oversimplify. You know that people have spent thousands of years theorizing over God's existence, what God is, what God might exist, what gods definitely don't exist. There's been a process of elimination. Like they've eliminated lots and lots of gods. Through science.
All of them, Tom. All of them.
I disagree with that.
Okay, which ones have they not eliminated?
But do you not see that
which ones have they not eliminated? I'm asking you. Ask you a straight question. Which ones have they not eliminated?
I'm not a religious theist.
Yeah, but you made the claim. You did. You made the claim. So where did you?
They've got rid of what is it? The God. What is it? Thor, the made thunder.
If you make a claim, then you got to have some knowledge behind it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, like the God, was it Thor that made the thunder? And we've worked out that actually
the god Thor that was made up by man
in the atmosphere, and there was a god that made babies sick and stuff. There's all these different gods. Come on, don't be pedantic, Sid. You know that what I'm saying is correct.
No, what you're
we
saying
have
is
scientifically. There are certain views of what God is that can be scientifically negated.
Well, give us an example. Come on.
Just giving you one, Sid. The god of thunder.
You said Thor,
innit?
Thor was obviously a man-made created, a man-made or imagined god. We know that. So why are you bringing up Thor, which we know is not a god? It's just a fictional character.
Sid, I think you've been
Come on,
spoken
no,
too
don't,
much.
don't insult me. Just answer my
asked
question.
me-
Just answer my question.
You just asked me. You're trolling me now.
No, man. This and
He
hominem.
is. He just
And
actually asked me to
don't even
name a
talk
god that's been dismissed by science, and I named Thor. And then he said, "Why are you bringing up Thor? Because you just asked me to, you dickhead."
He wasn't dismissed by science.
It's,
Wasn't
Thor is
dismissed.
just
It
as
was.
imaginary as your
No,
Jesus
but
Christ.
it becomes provable that Thor is not a godhead figure.
Okay, well, we don't have to listen to your crap. It's quite obvious. It's quite obvious that you have no argument to put forward to my statement, and you cannot prove me wrong that all gods are imaginary. So you're coming up with this ad hominem bullshit and trying to insult me in order for you to be taken seriously. But it's not going to work, dude. It's just not going to work.
Sid, I never join your panels and expect to be taken seriously.
Well, you're a Christian, of course.
Never.
Christians cannot be
I'm
taken
not.
seriously.
Straw man again. I'm not.
Right.
I disassociate myself from Christians for the sake of Christians, because I debate in a way they never would. I'm less forgiving. I'm more cantankerous. And
Yeah, but you're just as
I dare
illogical.
say, I've probably got a better grasp on the Godhead.
No, you're just
than-
as
than they
irrational.
have.
You're just as irrational as
I
all the
don't know
others.
what it is. I'm shrouded by uncertainty, whereas Christians have got a bigger level of certainty than I have. I'm more of a doubting Thomas than most Christians. But there's something.
So what problem? What
Go on
problem?
with your self.
Who's the guy with the grace hot pepper sauce? He's not spoken.
Okay, can you let other
I'd be
people talk?
interested.
Let Alfred say something.
He seems to be a listener. I'd be interested to see what he says.
Go ahead,
He,
Alfred.
she,
Alpha, go.
not Alpha.
I'm
the
just, I'm
one with
just
the great.
She wanted to say something, and you kept on talking over her. So let her say something.
fucking tiresome as well.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying.
I know she has a
grace.
vagina and breasts and stuff, but that doesn't make her any less of a human being. All right.
Well,
You're the
I
one that
think the
wanted
whole
to give a special
conversation
treatment.
is very interesting, and I'm enjoying listening
Yes.
and learning.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope it's not too chaotic for you. Me and Sidney have got a long. Me and Sid have known each other 6-7 years now. He's my favourite Satanist.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you. So we're still not getting anywhere here.
Well, you're not really letting the conversation. What I hoped was I could come in here, explain my point of view, and have it tore to shreds. I don't mind.
But you did
But
explain your point of view.
Hold on, but what? Yeah, to a degree, but then you need some back and forth. But what needs to happen is you need to genuinely want to try and understand my point of view. You seem too eager to knock it down, and what the bits you're knocking down aren't the bits I'm actually saying.
I know you're talking shit.
I'm not actually
No,
claiming.
give me some
True.
examples of what you're trying to say. This is bullshit. Come on, back it up.
Right. What I'm trying to say is none of us, scientists, theists, atheists, Satanists, I don't care what really, none of us know what there was before the Big Bang.
Then why God?
Because
then
we
why
can
God?
only,
Okay, yes, but why God? If none of us know what was before the Big Bang, then why God? Number one, hold on. Why God? Number one, and why, when we say no God, do you condescend to us? Why?
Because it's a leap of faith from the imagination. This is why I love your question. I think it is a really good fucking question. It's one of the best.
Ask a question.
Hold on. Hear me through. Stop being so argumentative and defensive.
Don't call my statement a question.
But it's a good thought-provoking statement then, rather than a question.
What about the prove me wrong part of it?
True.
What about the prove me wrong part of it?
True. Gods are imaginary, but like I said earlier, I can
gods
imagine
are imaginary. That's the
something
thing.
that's false. I can imagine something that's false.
I said that all gods are imaginary. So don't strawman me, sir.
Look, you're being cantankerous now. He's just trying to fucking wind me up and make it hard for me to explain my point. But I'm trying to big him up, and he hates fucking what do you call it, compliments. But it is a good fucking question, one of the best questions I've seen in the great debate community, because it opens up that matter of the mind. It's like, well, what determines? You've got imaginary things that are just fanciful, and like fucking dragons and fairies and all that. That is in the imaginary sphere. But then you've got things that can become true. They're not true yet, but they could come true. They live in the imaginary, don't they? As human beings, we're mortal human beings, right? We're fallible, totally fucking fallible, imperfect, and yet even we can imagine something and then use all the resources around us to actually make that imaginary thing come true, like I did with that laptop tray today. You know, I turned an old kitchen cupboard door into an angled laptop tray and everything. Right, it's fucking beautiful.
So what does that do? What's that got to do with God's imaginary?
Without my, but what I'm saying is, without my imagination, I couldn't have even conceived of that.
But who cares? We're talking about God's imaginary. We're not saying all laptop trays are imaginary.
That's what I'm saying, though, Sid. If me, my mortal little fallible, useless self, can use my imagination to bring something into existence that didn't exist before. Okay, it did exist before, but in a different shape, in a different form.
Yeah, but
I've took my tools and I've done. But what I'm saying to you,
Tom. I know what you're saying.
No.
You're saying, Tom. Stop! Don't make me mute you again. Stop!
Being able to bring us into existence.
Stop! When you say you're bringing your laptop tray into existence from some other piece of some other object, it's still within this universe. Okay, you're talking about God outside of the universe, and I'm saying that God outside of the universe doesn't exist. It's just imaginary. You start talking about your stupid little tray for your laptop. It's got nothing to do with the debate on this imaginary God. So stop talking about your laptop. It's got nothing to do with this conversation.
Okay, I get you. But that's why I talk about the fish tank. Just quickly, that's why I talk about the fish
tank. Hold on. Let Alpha say something, because she hasn't had a word in for a while. Go ahead, Alpha.
Oh, fuck.
Go ahead.
Okay, can we mute the
Yeah.
yellow down, please?
All right, there he goes. Good, thank you, Tom. Go ahead.
So here's the deal. We have now vacillated through all of the typical theist defensive responses. And again, this is not something I see with conceptual Christians. So as far as I'm concerned, the gentleman came into the room deceptive from the start, came in here with the appearance of a conceptual Christian, only to argue a hard Christian, and he's saying, I'm not a Christian, but you believe in Jesus Christ, and if I use Jesus Christ as an epithet or a swear word, you're saying, oh, mocking. Okay, so sorry, but this is somebody coming from a Christian perspective. I don't know whether he's a Bible literalist or not, but whatever. And what he did was he came in with a deceptive position and then gish-galloped for, what was it, Sidney? 6 minutes, 7 minutes? We were all dead silent.
That's right.
He called us out on being savages and having no decorum. And so we shut up and we let him go on and on and on. But I knew that this could go on for potentially 10 or even 15 minutes. My fucking ears would be bleeding by the end of it, because I've heard this argument 1,000 times. There's absolutely nothing that is unique, that is conceptual about this. That this is just the same old thing that we've heard over and over again. This declaration, something, cannot come from nothing. Insert God of the gaps. Therefore, God. And I tried to just make it honest and say, let's not talk. Let's not go into places where it's outside of our academic purview, right? But Christians love to do this. They like to talk as if they are theoretical physicists or astrophysicists. They're not. And they have no business talking about this. It makes me uncomfortable because I feel like it's dishonest to use an academic position that I don't have letters in. And as soon as I try to even begin to break this runaway horse, this gish gallop, and go, whoa. Let's not talk about before space time. That isn't fair. And then I said, that's like me saying, well, what made God? It's really not a fair question to answer to a theist because it's an unanswerable fucking question. You don't even need to go there. But, as soon as we even tried to challenge anything and tried to define words, it's like then here comes the ad hominems and all of this ugliness. We're trying to be civilized here, but we don't want to be lectured. We don't want to this weird deistic sermon. It's not interesting to us. If you can't sum up what you believe in one really short paragraph, then you're just gish galloping. Then you're just throwing so many different tropics and rabbit trails down and nobody can untangle it. And then you can walk away and say, oh, well, those atheists can't defend anything. How is it even possible? I'm done.
Excellent. Well done. Okay, Tom, response? Tom, you gonna respond? No, I think you. Oh, there he comes.
Yeah, if she actually wants to argue anything I actually said, rather than I don't know what she just went on about, but it weren't nothing I said.
You never listened to
And
that.
a little point.
Okay.
When someone says, "Oh, we,"
no, it's just another.
So she wants to speak to me now. Go on.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't.
You want to interrupt me?
I don't want another
Not
fucking
Christian.
sermon.
Don't know how many fucking times. It's not a sermon. When someone's explaining their point, the first time they've been on a panel, amongst a bunch of you do want to interrupt me then.
Statement after another, with nothing to back it up, and then you go get
No, where God touched you. Show me on this doll where God touched you and hurt you. You've obviously got a thing. You don't understand my concept of God, though. I can promise
that is uncalled for.
So
that is uncalled for, Tom.
It's true, though.
No,
she's
it's
obviously
not true.
got an accent.
No, that is condescending. That is insulting. That is not. That is not
so clear.
Insulting. Did you just hear what she said about me? And you're getting on your high horse. I'm insulting her.
Show me on this doll. What are you talking about? Show me on this doll. That is childish.
You just let her shotgun me left, right, and centre. No shit's given for my feelings. Oh, I'm just some fucking dumb Christian that I've told you fucking 8-9 times now within tonight's only side chat and on the panel. I'm not a fucking Christian. And you're still going on like, I don't know, there's some mental disconnect. There's some mental disconnect. You're arguing against the God that I'm not presenting. And you expect me to get offended by your attacks. You're attacking me. You're attacking me for your fucked up view of what God is. I'm sorry if you can't conceive of a God that's actually all right.
Stupid and narrow.
And all the bad things that happen to you are God's fault, but you don't believe in God, but they're all his fault. All the bad things. You don't believe in God, but all the bad things that happen to you are because of God.
Possibly
listen to
go into this male testosterone fueled world of this male creator God who
Hold
farts.
on, I'm the one that treats
How
you
does-
equally.
how does
Sid's the
that-
one that wants to give you special
Come
treatment
on.
because you've got a
Come
vagina and
on.
breasts.
It's just
I'll treat you
painful now.
equal.
Now it just
I'll treat
hurts.
you equal.
It's
I don't know what your problem
boring,
is. I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah.
I came on, right?
and
A
yeah,
panel like
otherwise,
this needs a theist, right? A panel like this needs a theist. Otherwise, you've got no church circle where you're all patting each other. Oh yeah, God sucks, blah blah blah. So you need a theist, right? I've come on.
fuck, man.
Tried to explain
Not
to
at
you
all
why
what
I'm a
goes
theist.
on in here when you're
No, I'm not a theist because I want to get a
good
free skirt.
God.
I'm not a theist because I think, oh, I'm going to be saved. Do you know the vision I haven't got? I'm fucked. I am fucked. Things I've done in my life, I'm doomed. It ain't no crutch or saving grace to me. This God thing that I believe in. I just believe we're all here for a reason and a purpose, and
Yeah, but you can't just. But you can. It's fair enough for you to believe that we're all here for a reason and a purpose, but not to be able to back it up sounds to me like you're just making shit up.
No, but the thing is, though, see, you're asking for certainty on a topic. There can be no certainty. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a fucking question, would it?
Of course, there's certainty. The certainty is that God is imaginary.
Listen,
God does not exist,
Sid,
and that's pretty certain. Don't Sidney.
If it was possible to prove that God exists, there would be no atheists because
which just proves that God does not exist.
It wouldn't be a theological question then, would it?
Exactly. So that just proves that God does not exist, because if God did exist, like you said, we'd all innately know it. But the only way any of us have come to the have been introduced to God is not by God himself, but by other people telling us about this God that exists, which doesn't exist. That's the only thing.
Sid, you're trying to solve a mathematical question by ignoring numbers and concentrating on the alphabet.
Do you believe that Jesus
exists? You're saying, prove to me that this sum equals this.
Do you believe that Jesus... Do you believe that...
Oh, but if I mention numbers, that's out of bounds. You're not allowed to mention numbers, but I want an answer to this mathematical question.
Okay,
I'm only allowed to use the alphabet.
Here's a non-mathematical question. Do you believe that Jesus existed?
Honestly, I don't know, but I lean kind of 70-80% towards yes.
Okay, do you believe that Jesus is God? Is Jesus God?
No. He was a prophet. He was divinely inspired.
Well, that divinely inspired infers that God exists, right?
Yeah. So through the imagination, yeah.
So exactly. So everything's from the imagination, even God.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this is my only argument. This is what I'm saying to you, though. But you're inferring because it's imaginary, it's false. That's the only point of contention.
Where did I mention the word false once?
No, but that's the implication.
But so what?
Well, yeah, fair enough.
Well, so what?
No.
Prove that I'm wrong. The whole thing here, the whole deal here is to prove me wrong, and you won't do that.
I can't prove you're asking for proof of a thing that you know can't be. That's kind of like setting yourself up for a win, isn't it, really? Unless you actually want to genuinely
if God existed,
about sharing ideas.
I said no. If God existed, then I wouldn't be setting myself for anything. I'm just I'd be proved wrong. That's all. But no one seems to be able to want to prove me wrong, other than to throw insults at me.
Sit, right. I've known you've done these streams for a good year now, right? Now I can't work out whether you genuinely want the debate and your mind is curious and you want to understand other people's points of view, or whether you're just looking for some sort of victory. Oh, look, I beat this person. I don't kind of understand it. Now, I come in here genuinely, the last 3 times I've come in here genuinely to give, this is what I think. This is why I think it. and like, let's talk about it. It's not a win or lose. It's not a beat you up, beat me up type thing for me. But it does seem to be that for you.
Here. This room is not open for you to bring your thoughts and your conclusions about God, and we talk about it. The fact is that it's very simple. If God exists, then prove that God exists. I'm saying that all gods are imaginary, and then I'm saying prove me wrong. Hold on, I'm not finished yet. And then I'm saying prove me wrong. And instead of you coming to prove me wrong, all you're doing is attacking me and talking shit about stuff that I don't even understand why you're talking about stuff that has got nothing to do with prove me wrong. And I want you to prove me wrong once and for all.
I'm not attacking you.
Once and for all. Prove me wrong. Are you going to prove me wrong or not?
I'm not attacking you. I'm just explaining my point of view, basically. I've known you for years, and I see your lives come on. I've watched a few. I've joined a few. And I was like, there was no one live tonight. And I thought, oh, well, I'll type in the side chat. And then someone said to come on. So, come on. No,
thank you for joining.
No win or lose to me. I just, it would be nice though, and beneficial for people that are interested in this topic. I mean, you are doing this topic a lot.
Go to a Christian room and talk about the topic. We're not interested. We're not interested in what
well,
God.
You need to change
we want to know. We want to know. We want to know. We want to know if God exists or not. I am stating that all gods are imaginary, and then I'm stating prove me wrong. Now, what should happen is you should come in here, I should shut up and listen to you prove me wrong without me having to say anything, but you won't do that. So I'm going to give you one more chance. Prove me wrong without me having to say anything. Go ahead.
Prove you wrong on what? That gods are imaginary?
All gods are imaginary. Prove me wrong.
You're asking an impossible question.
I didn't.
And you know that when you pose the question. So it's like a win. It's like a glorious win. It's like me. Prove to me that a square is a circle. Prove to me that a square is a circle. Like, and I'm gonna host a hangout about prove to me a square is a circle. Then I'm just gonna scratch my head. Why is no one joined?
No, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Prove to me. Did you say prove to me that a square is not a circle? Or if square is a circle? What has that got to do with God being imaginary?
Because you can't prove what was before. You can't prove anything outside of our observable universe. And we know that if there's a God, it's pre-universe. It's before the Big Bang. Because it made the Big Bang.
Are you drunk?
Well, that's simple logic.
Are you drunk?
That's simple. No, not at all.
Okay, good.
That's just simple logic. How can God make us from within a realm that he can't create himself from within the realm that he's making? That's like me being part of the laptop tray that I made today. How can I'm in it. How can I make it when I'm in it?
Don't give an example inside this universe when you're talking about something that's outside this universe.
Well, this is what I was trying to say earlier.
Between inside the universe to something outside the universe.
Right. This is the analogy I was trying to make earlier about the fish tank. That's why I call it a fish tank. Right. Me and you, we can both physically make a fish tank, can't we? We can get some panes of glass, glue them together, make a rectangle fish tank. Yeah. We can then take the materials and tools we've got, like rock. Right. I can put some rocks in it. I can take that from my environment and put it in the environment of the fish tank. So everything, this is like I'm saying, I think this is why they, in Christianity, they say like the Father, like the Son, as above, so below, and all that sort of stuff, as is inside is outside.
We're not here to talk about Christianity, because Christianity is crap. It's nonsense. I want to know. Exactly. Stop talking nonsense about it. Get to the point. Get to the point.
He's trolling me. He's a little. He loves.
I'm asking you to get to the point and stop talking.
I'll get to the point a lot quicker if you stop interrupting me, right? So I know
You've got
that
you
in
got
this
60
physical
seconds. You
realm,
got 60 seconds. I'm not going to let
right,
you run off
I know,
for fucking hours.
right, okay then, right. I know that I can take the materials and fabrics around me and I can create a fish tank. I can put rocks in it, fish in it, water in it, and everything. Now, I don't live in the fish tank. If the fish started to analyze their environment, they're totally oblivious to me in my environment. All they know is what lies within the glass walls. They'll say, oh, there's rocks here, there's.
All right, I'm going to time him out for 60 seconds because that is not helping. That is not, it's not helping to this discourse. We don't want to hear about your bullshit aquarium and fish tank and all this crap. It's got nothing to do. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the subject. Fish tanks. We don't care. I'm asking you simply, prove to me that I'm wrong when I state that all gods are imaginary. That's all I want, and I want you to stick to the subject. If you don't mind, that would be lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, Alpha, you can take the floor. I timed him out.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, it's just, he comes in here, he insults people for making an argument that he doesn't agree with.
Yeah, just I saw he was trying to run down that sexist track and say, "Oh, you and Sidney must have a thing together," and I was like, "Fuck, man! Look what I do for a living. You really can't pull that sexist crap on me because, like, I've only worked in male dominated industries,
Exactly.
and I you know." You can't use sexual politics as a derogatory. Um, it doesn't work. It just doesn't. It's like fuck, man.
Yeah.
I've had people treat me unequally my whole life. It's not. It doesn't shock me, you know. But I do.
Didn't it shock you that he mentioned it? I mean, he comes in here and he mentions it for absolutely no reason
how the fuck
that you're a woman.
what's arguing with her because she's female, so therefore she can't possibly grasp or imagine these giant existential concepts. And I'm like, well, fuck you. No, I'm saying that's I literally started by saying that's part of the human condition, that we all contemplate these existential concepts in our own way. We all come to different conclusions. That's perfectly fine. But when you're telling me that the conclusions that I come to are completely invalid after talking to me and listening to the type of language that I'm using, then call me stupid?
Mm-hmm.
What am I supposed to do with that, Sidney? It's not like I ran out of the debate because I didn't want to, I didn't want to try and unpack what he was doing. It's just I recognized what he was doing. Exactly. And the fact is that he thinks that what's sad is that he thinks that this is some sort of creative or novel approach. A gish gallop?
Yeah, he
Jesus,
does.
right. It's old as the fucking hills,
Yep.
And no, they don't like to unpack it, and they don't like to say, oh, let's not talk about that. It's out of our academic purview. Because they want to make a whole bunch of truth statements in this giant hole in our knowledge. Absolutely. And I go, no, fuck that. That isn't fair. I can't stand doing that. That has been a purveying theme in my industry. It's literally driven me to the very edges of it because of that. Right. Because of this type of presuppositional logic. And it's not even exclusively a Christian thing. I'm talking about stuff in the secular world, where it's an uncreative line. It has an agenda. It always does, right? And if I try and unpack it, it's defensive and nasty. And the first thing he did was put a bunch of words in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
He, saying that I said this, or he had, or I had said that he said this, and every time he did it, I go, I did not do that.
He does that every time. All Christians do that. All theists do that.
Well,
they straw man.
why would he say that he's not a Christian when he's 70% sure that Jesus existed?
Because he's a special case. That's why he's he's a special person.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, and he thinks
You know what
he
I
thinks that
try to avoid
he thinks
in
that the
life?
only people who can learn something is when they learn it from him.
Yeah, well, that was clear because he really wanted to go on this whole sort of weird, vague.
Exactly. I asked him
sermon,
a simple question. All God, I made a simple statement. All gods are imaginary, and then I said, "Prove me wrong." And he did. He said everything he could to circumvent and or dodge the actual statement that I made, and ask him to prove me wrong, but he would not prove me wrong. In fact, all he did was insult me and ridicule me. So that's theists for you.
One of the first things that I wanted to do after ruling out stuff that's unknowable, okay, and go, let's just stick with the concrete.
Yeah.
I tried to, he's trying to say that imaginary and conceptual are the same thing. And, and I went, whoa, no, we need to stop right there.
Exactly.
We need to start using words correctly. We need to clarify our language. Because then he tried to pull that old Christian trick of trying to say everything's a fucking theory when they don't understand the scientific definition of what a theory is.
Did you hear him say that theology is a theory of what did he say? Theology is just a theory of science or something?
Completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's no theory of science. Science is science, just like reality is reality.
Reality is reality, and reality knows no God. Simple. So if they can prove me wrong, which I know they can't, but the invitation's out there. I will give Tom the kudos for actually trying. I'm sorry you failed so miserably, but this is what I've come to expect from theists, you included. So if anybody can come in here and prove to us that all gods are not imaginary, then by all means, step up to the plate.
Let's try not to do a total shit show where there's just the ad hominem and the sexism and
when I did math and I had to prove theorems, you remember in math you prove theorems, so you got your hypothesis. Let's say you got your triangle, and you got your a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or you got your whatever, you got your formula, right? So you plug in the results for the formula, and you come up with you plug in the data for the formula, and you come up with your results. When it comes to God, you don't have that. There's nothing to prove. You can't prove anything logically, like you can with a theorem. So all you got is your imagination, and your lies, and your deceits, and your bullying. That's all you got.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. In the jobs that I've worked at, the weak and the stupid do not survive. So.
Neither do they in this hangout. Especially the stupid.
Well, when you actually asked him when he was drunk, he admitted it. Because he didn't have his filter completely engaged. That's what alcohol does to your brain. Disengages your filtration system.
Right. A lot of people have to be absolutely smashed in order to come on the internet and into a room like this. I wonder if that isn't the case.
Well, it there were speech patterns and slurring, little tinges of alcoholic rage there.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Well, he's
I just
English. He's English, and you know about Englishmen. All they do is
it's
drink.
it is they have an alcohol. The
And
only
what?
the only people that got him beat is the Irish, I think.
I don't think the Irish and the English are much different from each other than their accents and their nationalism.
Just remember a couple of proverbs like the Irish ignore anything they can't drink or punch.
Which is why the Irish aren't exactly known for their prowess in the wrestling or martial arts field. Even what's his name? What the fuck's his name? The Irish champion, McPherson or Conor McGregor. Even he's had his ass kicked the last couple of times he's been out fighting. So much for that, for the Irish.
Yeah, well,
Midland Northern Git. Is that what, Phantom? You are a Midland Northern Git? All right.
well. Anyway, moving right along.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was a bit of a mess, but again, you're trying to put in some rules just where everybody understands each other.
yeah,
You
but
know,
you
it's
see,
just
rules don't
using
work.
correct language, and yeah, but Christians hate it.
Christians
They
absolutely hate it. Yeah.
hate clarification. They hate striking subjects where it's like, well, you know, I don't think that that's fair territory for you to shove your God into before space time when we have no reason whatsoever to believe that.
He said himself, I don't know. He said himself, I don't know. So if you don't know, stay
Well,
with it. Stay with it.
that was a Jedi mind trick on your part, though. You finally got him to say he doesn't really know, but I'm going to shove my God.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
So
that's how disingenuous these people are.
He's a piece of work.
Yeah, he is. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's a good friend. It's just that he won't shut up.
I don't know, my definition of nice means that when things get a little sticky in the argument, it doesn't mean that I spin around and start.
Yeah, I hear you.
I do get very annoyed though when people literally put words in my mouth or say that I said things. Well, I guess that's a straw man.
I hate that too. I hate that as well.
He probably straw manned me about 3 or 4 times.
He straw manned me too.
And then tried to use it as an attack point on you,
Yeah.
Almost painting me like I'm the bad guy, right? Like, oh, Sidney, I'm not really arguing from your point of view because she herself said something can't come from nothing. I'm like, I said, I didn't want to fuck with the something can't come from
then
nothing.
Then he brings up the law of thermodynamics. What a fucking idiot.
Again, and yes, and then right after that starts to get into this quantum this and quantum that. That Q word is it's a Christian buzzword that they use to try and sound smart.
Yeah.
And the fact is that it's jargon that 99.9% of the population doesn't know or understand. Except that you have 30% of the population using this word and completely repurposing it and saying, it's the power of God, it's the edges of God. You know what I mean? Whatever it is.
But they all define God into existence, which is not what I'm looking for. You
right.
Know,
they're trying and they're trying to use the edges of physics to do it.
Right.
And that's fucking dishonest. Sorry.
Yeah, did you hear his explanation when he said all the known laws of physics break down at the Big Bang, therefore God?
Yeah.
which is really dumb, because if you have an open mind, you pretty much have to accept that before the Big Bang, whatever there was natural. Okay, so the Big Bang is just another step in the evolution of the universe, or of existence, I should say.
Sidney, I'm going to take it one step further and literally say that I think that personal philosophical growth is basically saying that all of those big existential questions that Christians find so fucking important are actually really stupid and pointless and a giant waste of time. That if you can literally spend the rest of your life pondering this shit over games of chess in the park, you know?
Yeah.
And your life will blip out into nothingness. You will have no meaning. Nobody will mourn you when you die, etc., etc. You know?
Well, all I can say is that
I think that personally, like, once you realize saying, why are we born? Why do we die? What's our purpose in life? Who made me? You know, who made the world I live in? They're dumb fucking questions.
Absolutely dumb fucking questions. You just are. It is what it is. And how do we know that we exist? Because here we are. Have you ever heard the Christians ask you a question like, how do you know you exist? How do you know you are you and not somebody else? You know, all that kind of crap. But anyway, we did have our one contestant who came on tonight. Thank you very much, Tom. You're very, very brave. However, you failed miserably to convince anybody that God is anything but imaginary. You didn't prove us wrong. You couldn't prove us wrong. There is no way to prove us wrong. God is imaginary. All gods are imaginary. End of story. Anybody else want to step up and come and give us a run for our money? But this is the deal that I want. I want to be able to shut the fuck up and have somebody come in.
I don't know why, but I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
I can't hear you. Your circle is flashing on Discord, so I know you're talking, but there's no sound.
Yeah, hold on. Still nothing? How can you not hear me? Maybe you turned your volume down? I don't know. Can anybody else hear me? Can the chat hear me?
Okay, now am I back? Are you back?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay. What happened?
I don't know. Just
I didn't do anything.
I know I wasn't muted and you weren't muted, so and your little green circle was flashing around your icon, so I knew you were talking, but just weird.
That is, maybe there was a major lag, unexplained, caused by God.
I just yeah, exactly. It's a sign. Oh my God, it's a sign.
Thank you, El can hear me.
Trying to break up the podcast.
John says they can't hear me, so obviously I'm muted, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just use your imagination, John, and you'll hear every word
I
say.
It's all part of God's divine plan.
That's right.
And at the moment, Sidney started to really make sense. His microphone was muted.
Mine?
By divine power.
By divine power, indeed. Wasn't me.
So anyway, yeah, I haven't done that in a while. I used to tangle with blowhorn theists and street preachers, and Scientologists were always fun to fuck with. I just love to mess with those people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I was just couldn't even walk down, couldn't even take my friends through a tour of Hollywood without fighting them off. I would literally warn them as we were coming up on the testing center, like a half a block ahead. I'm like, okay, now, literally break the conversation. Go, wait, we're gonna walk by this place. There's gonna be this desk. They're gonna offer you free books and all. Don't make eye contact. Don't talk to these people. Walk a little faster. And because I just didn't want to have the fucking Scientologists take over our our Hollywood Walk of Fame tour, right?
I believe there's a fight right now between the Scientologists and somebody else for a share of their and either Disney or somebody.
Oh, it's Disney. It's definitely Disney.
Oh, it's Disney
It's been over time. I think that there were other players involved initially, as they were. You're talking about they were making that real estate grab back in the
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
90s. They were. They all of a sudden the commercial property in Hollywood went from going for, I kid you not, maybe $10 a square foot to like $800 a square foot.
Wow.
Within the course of, it was insane, because it was, a few different bigwig companies trying to grab up as much real estate as possible on it. And once they owned a majority share, they were going to gate that fucking thing off and turn it into a theme park. They still want to do it to this day. But like I said, I hope the Scientologists don't win that one. I would honestly rather have to wade through a lot of Disney commercial crap. I think that would be preferable. And I also don't think Disney would remove the Hollywood stars. Pretty sure Scientologists would.
Scientologists would. They'd ruin everything.
I think that they would actually take out all of the oldest stars and put their own, you know what I mean? The actors that are, or glorify or exalt them
totally
somehow.
fuck it up.
I don't trust them not to, that's for sure. But just the fact that you would have to pay admission would bother me, because that's been, something where
that would be a problem.
People can freely walk in and out of that part of Hollywood, and they should be able to, without being charged anything other than a hefty fucking parking fee.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. But they are fun to mess with, especially if you have any friends that were like really, really high up in that organization, and they tell you all of this background shit that's really super cringe, that they don't want their lower level Scientologists people to know. They certainly don't want them to have access to their manuals, for their very, very advanced Scientology courses. This is stuff you're supposed to pay, anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000 for over the course of a few years, almost like a university, right?
Right.
Except it's a church, so it's tax deductible. Yeah.
Incredible.
Really,
America is such a fucked up place.
When you give out that shit for free online, or at least tell people, what web link to go to download it. Yeah.
There's a good in the side chat. John asked Phantom Prophet, please quote to me a credible scientific explanation for anything in the Bible. Great question.
Whoever wrote that thing tried to make a sort of rough alignment with history to give it some credibility. And writing it after the fact, of course, makes that pretty fucking easy to do.
Yeah.
But, we really have no proof that Jesus existed.
None. I have proof that Jesus is a myth. It's in all the books.
I have pretty good reason to believe that myself.
Oh, absolutely. There is no contemporary evidence for Jesus Christ. So no matter what everybody says, that the Gospels, even though they were written 100 years later, yes, that's a true recollection of Jesus' life, you know, in the last 3 days or whatever it was. It covers a lot of bullshit. Hello, Darth Dawkins debunked. I need you to take Phantom Prophet on your knee and give him a good hard spanking.
I thought that Triple D, I thought that his deal was that he wouldn't reveal his worldview, which I think is very wise, by the way. I have no criticism of that.
No, but
Of
he
that,
does.
position.
He's obviously an atheist.
Obviously, I don't know.
You don't
I don't
think
think
so?
that he's revealed one way or the other. I think he's been actually pretty artful about keeping that quiet, because he doesn't argue from his worldview. He just
Oh, I
attacks
thought
God.
100% sure he's an atheist. Darth Dawkins debunked. Would you like to come
No,
into?
I believe Triple D has been rather mysterious about that. We should probably keep it that way, because, like I said, I think it's very clever
Why?
of him
Yeah, it
to
would be
not
fine, but he's got a.
reveal your epistemological position when trying to tear apart Darth. Triple D's position is that you don't need to reveal your position. That it just gives Darth a additional weaponry to attack you with.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be ashamed of your position.
You don't have to be ashamed of it. You the point he's trying to make is that you don't have to reveal your worldview in order to effectively. I hate that word. It's like lifestyle. You don't have to even go into your own belief set in order to tear apart Darth's brand of presuppositional apologetics.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think that's. Remember what I was talking about earlier about novel approaches to take when you know I don't want to say debunking or attacking, just when examining, right?
Mm-hmm.
Presuppositionalism and the, because okay, in my estimation, you have to be able to examine it and understand what the critical points of it in order to understand how it affects that person's brain. Maybe that's just my opinion, but you know.
Well, some people have brain. Most everybody has a brain, but nobody seems to use them properly. It's
Well,
kind of
my
a
point
shame.
is that well, I believe that this sort of thinking has a detrimental effect on the brain.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
And I have no proof for this, so I'm just going to go out on a limb here.
Yeah.
I only have a rough sort of set of anecdotal evidence here, so it really doesn't mean shit. But my belief is that Christianity is inherently uncreative in its thinking, structure, everything about it. It's uncreative. It's the claim to know the
What's
essence of a
impossible?
creator God, while the people that embrace this concept are not creative people.
Right.
And I truly believe that creative intelligence has its own little branch, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the tree of smarts.
Mm-hmm.
But that creative intelligence, the more creative intelligence you have, the more you will be able to examine things critically.
Mm-hmm.
And the more the more thorough and realistic your thought experiments are going to be. Like I said, this is largely my opinion, but I'm basing this on a few key facts. Okay, I'm just one. There are no hardcore right-wing conservative evangelical Christians that are good filmmakers. Every single film they have made, when it is made by Christians on a Christian budget, is dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
You could literally tear it apart, not just from a technical filmmaking construction perspective, but just the choices that they make.
Right.
And I think that you watch like a Pureflix film, and it will say a lot about the people that made that movie. Okay.
Yeah.
And I also want to point out, name me one stand-up comedian that is super Christian, super conservative, and super funny.
I can.
Can you name one?
Yeah. What's his name? Durham. Dunham. Jeff. Fuck. What's his name?
Jeff Dunham?
I think it's Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham doesn't. There's no Christian. I've never seen any even hint of Christianity in his material.
No. He doesn't swear, and he doesn't talk religion.
Correct. Well, he also keeps his Christianity a secret.
Yeah, so he should.
The fact that he doesn't swear, just means that the nature of his act, right?
Yeah.
He's a brilliant. He's probably one of the best ventriloquists of our modern age. He has just so much fucking talent.
Yeah.
If he's a Christian, this is the first I've heard of it.
Well, I'm assuming he's a Christian.
You're assuming he's a Christian. Well, he may not be, because
he may not be.
Just because he doesn't swear.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do religious material. A lot of comedians won't touch religious material. It's kind of like making a funny Holocaust movie, right?
Right.
If you're gonna do religious material, it better be goddamn fucking funny, where it's just gonna transcend all the boundaries of taste, or it's gonna bomb. It's like doing, racist humor, sexist humor. It's got to be really, really, really funny, or it's gonna bomb. And most of the time, most comedians can't walk that line and not fall off a cliff sooner or later.
Oh.
There've been some spectacular, flare outs. Like I can't remember this guy Kramer from. He was on that show Seinfeld. His character's name was Kramer.
I remember that.
I mean, he flipped his wig and literally let out all of this stuff that was inside him, right? And
yes.
that was the end of his career.
Yeah.
And as long as he kept all of that under the surface, right, and he used it maybe for creative angst or whatever, the driving force in his work, then it was fine. But once you let that out, Hollywood will just never forgive you,
Correct.
The entertainment business is supposed to be inclusionary. If it's not, it doesn't work. So, anyway, we'll have to look and find out if Jeff Dunham is a Christian. When I say conservative Christian, I mean it's somebody who declares this is who he is, right?
Right.
Has funny material about the Bible. Well, you're never going to see that,
Yeah.
It's just comedy that's really relatable, right?
Yeah.
It's not supposed to follow. It's not supposed to follow very many rules. And one of the rules I just gave you is that if you're going to do really edgy material, it has to be super funny. And if it's super funny, by definition, it can't be super racist or sexist, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to pull a Kramer and just start screaming the N-word into the audience, all you're going to get is total shock, and then 15 or 20 seconds of dead silence as your career literally implodes. Doesn't make a sound, by the way, when this happens. It's over. So you know, the other unwritten rule of comedy is that if you're going to do any racial type humor, right?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you have to be a person of a certain race. And if you're going to do cross-racial stuff, everybody gets it, right?
Right.
So that we can almost, I think we should recoin this, the Don Rickles rule. Don Rickles, right, he was like the first edgelord comedian. He did material on every different race, you know what I mean? He himself was Jewish, right? He's part of a minority class. So he can, you know what I mean, do this stuff totally fine.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And the fact that he did it to everybody meant nobody ever called Don Rickles a racist. Far from it. You know?
He insulted
How
people.
could you? You might as well call Mel Brooks a racist, right?
Yeah.
Mel Brooks isn't a fucking racist. Trust me, I worked for Mel Brooks. Coolest man on the face of the earth.
Really?
You want about talk this? Oh man, this guy got it. He was just such a great, still alive as far as I know, but such an incredible guy. But again, he was Jewish, and you know what I mean. Blacks, Hispanics, you know, Asians, gay, you know,
everything's on the
everybody
table.
got it. Everybody got it, and yet black people, Hispanic people, Asian people, gay people will watch Blazing Saddles all in the same room and laugh their fucking ass off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody want to watch a stream here, or we're gonna do some?
Yeah, I've got a Darth Dawkins stream. Sorry, a Darth Dawkins clip, queued up, which where he debates with a pedophile who's actually sitting in a Scottish jail today doing a 9-year sentence.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, Matt Bell.
Yes.
Yay!
So I was thinking of running that and see how this goes. I believe that Skylar Fiction introduced this, so I'm going to what's the word? Acknowledge Skylar Fiction for this one. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Questions.
Oh, okay. I guess you saw it then, yeah. Well, did you see it or no?
Yeah, I just looked at it. Why is asking people questions a problem?
It's not.
They ask me questions.
Yeah, I can answer that question for Darwin's. People don't mind being asked questions. What people do mind and object to is being asked a series of questions, leading them down a path that the person asking the questions know where they're going with it, but the person answering the question has to basically play like a dog on a lead and be led down a garden path until you eventually get to your point. So people don't like that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a Socratic method. But generally speaking, you're not going to find people receptive to that.
Well, I understand that unbelievers aren't receptive to that because they're in rebellion against God, and they don't want light shed on their suppressing the truth and unrighteousness.
So just for context, Darth Dawkins is a believer, a Christian. Matthew Bell is a believer, a
Can I ask
Christian.
a quick question?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I think the stream. Did it stop or did you?
Yeah,
stop
I was talking and I forgot to unmute.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead. What's your question?
Oh, I was. No, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say that both Darth Dawkins and Matt Bell are Christians. Okay, they believe exactly the same thing. They both believe that slavery is okay, that rape is okay, that child molestation is okay, because well, I don't know why they think it's okay. Matt Bell has already landed himself in jail for his child molestation for what he's done in the how am I going to best put this? He got arrested for procuring somebody in the Philippines to perform perform a sexual assault on minors while he watched from Scotland. He got busted for that. And that's what he got busted for. Christian. This is a Christian who believes wholeheartedly in Jesus Christ of the Bible, in heaven and hell, and how can? So the question is, how does he commit this type of crime as a Christian, thinking that he's not going to hell, but still going to heaven because he's a Christian who has repented? This is the kind of dilemma I have with this guy, or with this whole philosophy. Makes no sense.
I think that's a fantastic question. And then the question that two questions I wanted to ask. One, was Matt Bell's victim a male or female, and how old were they?
Female, minor, very young.
Okay. Oh, so like we're talking preteen, like no
more than likely.
visible sexual development yet.
In my understanding, as I understand it, yes. Like 9 years old type of thing.
Ooh, okay.
Reprehensible.
All right. And then the second question is was Matt Bell caught in the same Philippine pedophile ring sting that Richard Huckle was busted for?
I've never
heard
who
Richard Huckle was?
I've never heard that name, no.
And Richard Huckle is largely described now as Britain's worst pedophile. The UK's worst pedophile. And he was basically doing the same thing that Matt Bell was doing, but he had done it hundreds and thousands of times. And then he actually went over to the Philippines and like volunteered in orphanages, and yeah, he was truly a monster. But it was a tremendous investigative effort on the part of Scotland Yard, I believe, that stopped all of this. I shouldn't say stopped all of this, but it stopped this particular line of cam sexual abuse. I don't know exactly. Do we have a word for what they're doing that's specific, or no? Because I just called it like
child sexual assault.
It is child sexual assault, but the way they're doing it is significant, right? Because if you're sitting in your place in another part of the world, and you are ordering sexual abuse of a minor over a webcam, it's oddly specific, isn't it? It's not. Look, it's the new way of doing things. It's not classically the way these sort of crimes used to take place, right?
Right.
Because before, 99 times out of 100, if a child was being molested on the regular, it was by somebody who knew, who groomed them, who was in a position of power or trust, et cetera, et cetera. This is how this stuff kind of happens, right?
Yeah.
But now we have a whole different way that this is being done, right? Where the abuser is not only doesn't know the child being molested, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're in another part of the fucking world, and they're ordering this stuff to be done.
Yeah.
You know.
It's sick.
And you know what I mean? So it's so much, it's weird, right? Because before, this was a private act that, you know, through grooming and through psychological intimidation, you would seal the lips of the child, and then you would abuse them in private over and over and over again. Now you have somebody who's actually complicit in this, performing the acts, you know what I mean? It's just weird to have like, wow, now there's another person in it? Like, what the fuck? But to me, it just adds a layer of complexity in catching these guys. Because again, it's all done over encrypted channels and dark web, and it's, you know, and in two different countries.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. That's why I mentioned Richard Huckle, because I knew that this kind of cam abuse is not easy to catch or stop, and that it was only because this particular individual was such a monster that they cast out this net, and I think that they caught a bunch of other fish, you know. And when you're saying that it was a 9-year-old Philippine girl abused over a cam, it's like, well, fuck, that's oddly specific.
Yeah.
Richard Huckle's name literally leaped into my brain when I heard this. I went, huh.
Let's give you an idea of what a sickie this guy is.
You are deeply, deeply depraved. You know,
and
people.
Yeah, we should have known because
money to abuse a child on command, they're just as horrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you have two horrible people abusing one child. Right. The power dynamic is extraordinary when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Often this is your own family member doing this to you.
Exactly. This
from
is
what I
probably
understand.
what happened. I think this is what happened in this case.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Should we carry on with old Dorothy boy?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, so you need to become all things to all people to win some for Christ, according to Paul.
And what does that mean?
What that means is that if you're applying a valid methodology like the Socratic method, but
sorry about the music. That's not me. That's from the video.
The target audience, the people you're trying to direct that against, if it's being ineffective, if it's not effective because they're not going to play ball with it, they're going to go into a strop, or they're going to become rude or obnoxious or insulting, they're not going to play ball with it, they're not going to give you that time to just answer your questions and follow that logical progression, then you need to reconsider your methodology and say, well, okay, this isn't working effectively to win people for Christ, so what would work? And then you need to adapt your style to something that will work with those non-believers.
I don't share that philosophy of evangelism.
Did Paul not? Is that? I mean, so Paul never
Hang on a
said become all things to all men.
Yeah.
A narcissist and a pedophile walk into a Christian bar. It sounds like a line to a bad joke, doesn't it?
Narcissist and a pedophile. Oh my
God. I'll add another line to it. A narcissist and a pedophile walk into a Christian bar arguing over what is the most virtuous way to communicate the Christian position to non-believers. It's just laced with irony, isn't
Lots
it?
and lots of whiskey.
Go on. I couldn't help myself.
Okay.
That you might win some for Christ.
Yeah. Well, I don't take the same interpretation on it as you do. For example, if Paul was dealing with a Jew, he would emphasize his Jewish background. If he was not, he wouldn't emphasize his Jewish background. I do see that Paul did. If you want to interpret that to mean that we tailor our evangelism to what we deem to be effective, I don't think you can exegete that from the text.
Well, no, but you can actually exegete it from the text. When Paul spoke to the philosophers on Mars Hill, he spoke to them using philosophy. He spoke to them about the unknown God. He spoke to them in a language they understood. Jesus, if you look at the Gospels, Jesus uses various different kinds of ways of preaching and evangelism, and that's specifically tailored to his audience. So if he's speaking to the Jews, generally he would be very vague, because his view of the Jews was that they were
metaphors, riddles, and prose.
whitewash sepulchres type thing.
Parables, remember?
Parables. Well, yeah, riddles, metaphors, prose.
And he didn't speak. People just wrote shit down without Jesus even being necessary.
Look, for the sake of argument, for just to do a what is it, internal critique or whatever, or is it external critique when you're looking into somebody else's mind? Let's just grant, for the sake of argument, that Jesus was there and said all this shit. One thing that is for certain, we wouldn't have 18 gazillion different factions of Christianity if Jesus spoke in plain fucking language.
Absolutely.
That's all I wanted to say.
Absolutely true. Can't fault you there at all. but man fucks things up, and so they fuck this Jesus thing up as well. They try to be too clever, I guess. Anyway, let's hear what these two dummies have to say to each other. Oh, now I'm going to get coffee.
A burden upon the people, etc. And so he spoke to them in parables, and I think the Gospels actually say the reason the disciples asked him, "Why are you speaking in parables?" And he said, "So they cannot see, so they cannot hear." So that's
what if it was only effective for me to share the gospel with people if they insisted that we all disrobe?
No, I mean, because your evangelism needs to be
That's
in
a funny question
conformity
to ask
to the moral standard of you as a Christian.
Good,
So
I agree.
if someone
Now, are you going to run a monologue, or is this going to be a conversation?
no, what I'm saying is
I asked you a question. Is this going to be a running monologue, or are we going to?
No, it's going to be a brief. It's going to be a brief comment following up on what I said.
No, you've been going on and on and on like it's a lecture, not a conversation.
Well, it's an attempt to assist you become effective in your.
Okay, I asked you a question. Is this going to be a monologue or a conversation?
I said no to that 3 times.
Okay, good. Then you need to let me have an opportunity to speak.
Yeah, cool. Go ahead.
So I don't agree with you that we tailor our techniques to be effective. I think what we need to do is have a biblical model of evangelism, and we don't compromise on the authority of God's word.
Yeah. Listen,
okay? and I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I didn't interrupt
you. Go ahead
you.
and finish.
Okay,
Make
good. You're interrupting me, and if you continue in this manner, I will cease and desist having a conversation.
Cool. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, I believe that we can have different styles. We can offer evidences, or we can declare that the only source and basis for reason, rationality, intelligibility is the Word of God. And I think that that's fine in all circumstances. I don't tailor my declaring what the Word of God says and asking questions based upon principles of the Word of God, asking the unbeliever to justify their worldview. I don't judge using that or not, whether it's going to be effective or not. I use it based upon if it's a clear principle taught in Scripture. So you and I, I'm not done yet.
Well, make it quick.
I'm not done yet, and you should talk about making something quick. Because you're going on, you're interrupting me.
Go ahead.
You are going on, you're interrupting me again. I'd like to finish without you interrupting me.
Look, hey, do you mind if I cut in there, Doc?
I do, but it's your room.
Okay. Then, go ahead, but at some point I want to address something.
Okay, well, I'm almost done. I don't share Matt's view or his interpretation when Paul says, "I become all things to all men," nor do I tailor proclaiming the truth of the Word of God and questions about the legitimacy of a skeptic's or an atheist worldview should be based upon whether it's effective or not. I think that we should ask questions based upon their worldview, whether or not it is effective or not. And I'm done.
Cool. So I'm going to respond to that before you do that, MK. I'm going to respond by saying this. If you want to be an ineffective evangelist and Christian on Google+, then continue with the stupid methodology that you're using just now. It's absolutely stupid. It doesn't work. Atheists don't respond to it. They don't listen to it. It only gets you in bother, and you end up losing your temper like a spoiled brat and a spoiled child, and then getting posted all over YouTube, displaying unchristian behaviour on that day. But if you want to continue with that, then that's up to you. That's your prerogative. On the scriptures, though, the scriptures clearly teach that we are to become all things to all men, to win some for Christ. We have the example of Paul changing his approach to people based on who the audience he was speaking to, so he could be most effective in communicating the gospel. We have the example of Jesus, who tailored how he presented his message to the audience he was receiving. We have clear teaching in Scripture that some seed, when you're planting seeds, that The seed has to be able to take root. And what you're doing is you're throwing seeds all over the place, and it's just landing in hard ground. It's never taking root. It's never getting to a point where it can be watered and by someone else. It's just useless seeds or useful seeds thrown on hard ground, made absolutely useless. But it's your Christianity. It's your walk with Christ. It's your evangelism. I'm only saying to you that, from what I can see, you are one of the least effective witnesses for Christ and proclaimers of the gospel that's ever came onto Google Plus, possibly with the exception of G-Man.
Okay, are you done?
No, I'm not done.
Okay. How much time are you going to take?
Maybe another couple of minutes. So to be put in the same category as G-Man, I think that about suffices to. And the view, I was defending you last night in a hangout where people were posting or talking about the videos that they've created all these videos about you, taking little snippets here and little snippets there. I was defending you. I have always defended you against the Pal Talk bullies. I did so again last night. Xbox supported me on that. You have support in that from people like me and Xbox with respect to those Pal Talk bullies and how they try to harangue and harass and everything else on there. You also had support in respect to saying, well, the Socratic method is a valid method of questioning. It's not your fault that non-believers just won't play ball with it. But if you're applying a method, and if your audience is non-believers and they ain't playing ball with what a valid method, then you have to reconsider your method. I'm done.
Okay, good. Well, if I respected your opinion, what you just said
Can you pause
would
it?
matter, but I don't respect your opinion.
Sure.
I consider your style.
Go ahead.
You got your coffee, first of all. Very
I got my
important.
coffee. Thank you.
Second thing,
Yeah.
I think that there's sometimes there's just such unintentional comedy that comes out of here, such as this entire like long chastising session between these two utterly deplorable human beings is being like inadvertently like soundtracked in the background, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, all of this music and you know, and it's really brilliant, you know, classical music that's designed to sort of evoke either an emotion or almost a, you know, almost a background, right?
Yeah.
You know, you see this in filmmaking where they use music, you know, but they score it like this is an unintentional score that's just, I don't, who's blasting this? Is it Darth or is it Matt? Do we even know the source of the, because they both got their mics open, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Darth is actually like kind of taking it from Matt. He's not doing his normal like leaping in and interrupting every 5 seconds. And yet we have this music playing in the background, and like first it's, you know, it's this, you know, I think it's Mozart. I'm pretty sure it's Mozart. You know, an aria maybe from one of his operas, and then it goes into Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies, right? So we're talking about all this God stuff while it's like dee 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 dee, it's going on in the background, which again evokes this you know, a feeling of silliness, and also little fairies like in imaginary beings floating around as Darth is talking in absolutes about his imaginary being. It's, I don't know, like I'm trying not to laugh because it's like completely out of context, and unless I explain, you know, why I find that funny, it's just like I'd just be cackling like a madman in the background. People be looking back at this and going, "My God, Sidney, what kind of fucking weirdo did you find on Discord to?"
I found two of them,
you know,
in the same clip.
So anyway, that's what I mean. Like, you know, I'm listening to the debate, and at the same time, I can't wait to see what music is gonna come next on on the unintentional soundtrack that's playing in the background. You know,
I see. I
is
see.
it gonna is it gonna enhance the experience somewhat? You know, because
I doubt it.
anyway.
Let's see.
An approach on many occasions to be overtly obnoxious, nasty, and rude. And I don't. You're interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Okay, you're interrupting with me. Okay?
I was agreeing with you.
Okay, you're interrupting me.
It's like saying amen at
You're
church.
interrupting me. Okay, would
Go
you
ahead.
mind not interrupting me? Do you
I'm thinking.
have the self-control where you can keep your mouth shut while somebody else is talking?
No, I'm thinking about it.
Okay, can you keep your mouth shut while I'm talking?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay, why do
my
you keep
God,
on interrupting?
He's right.
I'm not. I was answering your question.
Okay,
You asked me a question.
Would you please be quiet while I'm speaking?
Well,
I'll think-
by the way, I wanted to jump in.
I'll think about it.
Well,
Yeah,
can I just wrap up here? Because I'd like a response to what he said.
Okay? Well, yeah, sure. But after that, I'd like to say what I wanted to say, please.
Okay, good. I don't respect you, Matt Bell. I think you're an intelligent person, but I don't respect you. I think your behavior has been terrible a great deal of the time that I have seen. I have seen you use all sorts of disgusting name calling of people. You call people stupid all the time. You attack them personally. You do.
Listen to who's talking.
Oh my God! Pot kettle black! Pot kettle black! Pot kettle black!
Can you believe this? I can't believe what I'm hearing. That's funny. Let's hear what he has to say.
Ad hominems, and I simply don't respect you. So you can take your view and you can keep it to yourself or publish it on your own Google Plus website. If I did respect your opinion, I would take that to heart, but I don't.
Yeah, cool. That's up to you. That's but MK wants to
you wanted to speak?
Yeah, thanks. What I wanted to say was, as far as the Socratic method thing, and as far as switching up your evangelistic style, I think those are important points to consider. But that wasn't exactly what I meant with the message I sent you. What I meant more was like, kind of what's going on in this conversation. You bring a bit of like hostility to the
I was attacked, MK.
Yeah, well, look.
I was attacked, and I responded saying I didn't respect that opinion.
Yeah, look, but
Well,
yeah, I hear what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say is like,
did he not attack me in this room?
Okay.
No, I didn't. I definitely did not. I actually told you I defended you in a hangout last night. I offered you advice
Pause it for a second.
to
Sorry, I thought
your
MK
method, in regards to you.
All right.
I have to clarify something. I was saying Darth was right. Darth was right. Darth was saying that Matt Bell had no self-control. I just want to clarify that was the only point so far that we've come in that Darth was correct. Anybody who abuses a 9-year-old child over a cam clearly has no fucking self-control.
Absolutely true. I agree with you.
Darth is very, very, very rarely right about anything. But even when a broken clock is right twice a day, you have to acknowledge that, twice a day the broken clock is right.
Only if time doesn't stop.
I should say broken clock is right twice in a 24-hour period.
Twice 24. Yeah.
There you go.
No, but you're speaking about me. MK doesn't know my opinions. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who you were speaking to.
I think you're being a bad example.
I don't give a fuck. I'm going to respond to you and my
you're
name.
interrupting MK.
I don't give a fuck.
Well, look,
go ahead.
Do you think I care? Do you think I care? I don't care. Don't invoke my name, okay? Don't attribute things to me that are falsehoods, that are lies.
You're interrupting MK. MK wanted to speak.
It's unchristian behavior, but that's typical of you.
I don't respect your opinion, and you're taking up MK's time. He wanted to speak.
Again, I don't care what your opinion is.
Go ahead, MK.
The very fact that you've got Richard Dawkins.
Sorry, MK. You're interrupting MK. He's the owner of the room.
I'm going to mute you. If you don't mute him, I will.
All right, I'd like to say this. As far as just what happened there, I guess Matt just wanted to comment on you mentioning him. But look, I think I made my point. I just don't like it to get hostile. But hey, I'm happy Veckel came in here because maybe he could kind of soften things up. You want to say anything?
Well, when Echo,
No,
Echo's
I'm
done, I'd
actually
like
just,
to say something.
I'm just listening. I'm just listening, and I'm actually, I got to work in about 45 minutes anyway, so I just wanted to hear the combo.
MK said I could speak next.
I've already told you I don't have any respect for your opinion, so I don't give a fuck what you think your turn is.
Okay, you're being very hostile. It was my.
Yeah, there we go.
Doc, let me just. Okay, so.
Can you have him? He's not a mod. Can you have him not mute my
Doc,
microphone, please?
Okay, so according to in response to what Veckel said there, what he actually said, he'll be right back. So I guess I'll stick to the moderating. By the way, I wanted to introduce Mr. Campbell into the comment. You know what? I think maybe Mr. Campbell can maybe try to soften things up a bit.
Mr. Campbell.
Why not just change the subject? Darwin's is an uninteresting subject.
Who's
People are
Mr.
not an
Campbell?
interesting subject.
Okay, so
probably Rand Campbell. Let me see. Rand Campbell is another Christian who was on the scene at the time. I don't recognize an avatar, but let's see what happens.
Okay, so MK, it was supposed to be my turn to speak to you.
Well, okay. Well, I don't feel like I really got to make my that point that I was trying to make. All I was trying to say.
I just wanted to make a comment about what transpires when I'm in the room with unbelievers.
Yeah, but
yeah, you get your ass handed to you on a plate. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Are you going to tolerate this overt hostility that Matt is sending in my direction?
Okay, look.
Yeah, there's tons of YouTube videos out there that people can see the evidence of that happening. Every time you engage, you get your ass handed to you on a plate. And that's because you're employing an ineffective methodology.
Yeah, what I wanted to, Doc, the reason why I hid you, I'll bring you right back. The reason why I hid you is because you always have to get a word in. So I don't want to fight you in order to just say something. But when in conversations with you, it turns into that, like, all the time. And that's what my personal message was to you. It was like, I don't really want to have an environment where it always turns into a fight.
Well, may I make a comment without being rudely interrupted by others, MK?
Well, you know, let me. I'd like to answer it this way.
I'm being cursed out repeatedly, and you're sitting idly by tolerating.
Dawkins, I was in the. Okay, look, perfect example. I was in the middle of a sentence. You cut me off, and then on the same hand, you like point that out about other people's behavior, but then you do it yourself. So,
yes, MK, that's what narcissists do.
You know, I don't.
There you go.
You can't have it both ways, as far as that goes. But you tend to be hostile towards people that do give you what you give them.
Pause it.
And if you weren't hostile about it, then.
Yep.
So I'm about to look into my atheist crystal ball here and make a prediction that Darth is not going to enjoy having somebody pick apart his behavior, because anytime you start to say, not what Darth thinks or feels, but what he's actually doing, and you start breaking it down and saying, well, Darth, you ad hominemed, or you were very aggressive, or you constantly overtalk, or you don't let anybody finish their point, that he either goes into deflection mode, right, where he's gonna do what I call the Darth's broken record is, are you done? Yeah. Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? And then once that person acknowledges that they're done, then Darth will often switch and go over to somebody else and say, well, now I want to talk to so and so.
Yes.
You know? And of course that's not running away from any difficult conversation or any questions. No, of course not. No. It's he will not acknowledge any of his own behaviors, even when he's doing it in front of an entire audience.
Of course not.
He's like that. He's like that kid, that insufferable kid who literally you have grabbed this kid by the seat of their pants as they're waist deep in the cupboard with their arm all the way in the bottom of the cookie jar, and you have caught them red-handed stealing the cookies, this kid will turn around, look you dead in the eye, and go, "What cookie?"
Yeah, that's the
You
Christian.
know?
That's the way the Christians do it. They look you straight in the eye and they lie.
And they go, "What cookie?" And then if you know,
I have
Darth drops the cookie and runs over to somebody else and
Yeah.
says, and if anybody even starts to bring this up, he go, "Well, we can't talk about that because there was no cookie.
right. I have
There's no conversation. There's no cookie."
you asked about Rand Campbell, and I have a couple of small clips lined up, queued up, so I can introduce you to Rand Campbell when this is done. Okay.
We certainly can. Another thing that I wanted to maybe put this out on the table if you'd be interested in is there was a woman who used, again, the awesome power of science to catch pedophiles in a completely novel way that nobody ever thought of before.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe she was involved in the sting operation, one of these Filipino sting operations, because it was, again, it's the exact same crime as I described before, committed the exact same way. Her name is Sue Black, and she is a tremendous forensic science innovator. And since we're on the subject of pedophiles, we could even look at a way where, this awesome power of science is now used to catch pedophiles in a situation where it's almost impossible to catch these people.
Right. They thought they could get away with it, but science prevails. Ha ha.
Yes. Ha ha ha.
Ha ha. All right. Let's go.
It wouldn't become a big deal, but the fact that, you kind of take it into this other dimension of personal attack. No, I mean, you don't per se personally attack him, but it becomes emotional. And I'm just saying, my whole point is I just don't want to, I mean, it always goes there. It always goes, well, 99% of the time I would say it goes there.
Okay, can I comment?
When you're involved in conversations, and I'm just trying to avoid that. That's my only point, all right?
Yeah, I understand that. I think the reason why hostility erupts when I ask unbelievers about their truth claims is that they are completely in a position where they cannot account or justify their claims, and this is why they get frustrated. This is why they get angry. No, the word of God tells us, MK, that their minds are darkened. Okay, and that when we refer to the Word of God, that the Word of God and the Word of God alone, God's revelation, is our source of truth. And when skeptics and atheists make truth-valued statements, and I simply ask them to justify that, they end up going nowhere, and this is why they get upset, because they cannot justify any truth claims given the parameters of their worldview.
Okay,
now,
well,
you should know that it's perfectly understandable why they're going to get angry, why it's going to touch a raw nerve, because they think they have the capacity to make truth-valued statements that they can back up.
But here's the thing.
And they can't.
I disagree with that. What he's doing there, he's trying to use presuppositionalism, and he's abusing the Bible and the scriptures as some sort of excuse for the fact that people get angry with him. So he's saying, listen, when people get angry with me, it's not because I'm being a dick. It's not because I'm using an ineffective method and I'm boring people to death by trying to ask them about 50 questions and demanding an answer one by one as it goes along. It's nothing to do with that. If someone gets angry
exactly
with me,
what
it's only because
do.
I got a solid way of preaching the gospel based on the word of God and presuppositionalism nonsense. That's the reason. That's just using the gospel, abusing the gospel to hide from your own deficiencies as an effective communicator
what about the biblical
of
price
the
of my rent,
and of
motherfucker?
Christianity, using a dead-in-the-water methodology, presuppositionalism, that has no validity at all on Google Plus, has been addressed by atheists has been
But what
ripped
am I
apart
doing,
by
Sidney? I'm
atheists.
trying to justify rape to a rapist. Never mind.
Yep.
Pointless.
Listen to this. It's only got a couple minutes to go, and then we'll get into Duran. What? That's a piece of work coming up.
Time after time after time, they can justify their worldview. They can justify their truth claims. They just don't do
Yes,
it
I
in the way
can.
that you do.
Okay, well, look, Doc, here's the thing. Matt said a lot of things there, but I just want to address one thing of what he said. Yeah, he was saying, I'm not going to use his exact words, but part of the sentiment there was, you're saying that people that you're chatting with, it's no wonder they respond hostile because they're against God. But to that, I would just say, these same people don't respond hostile. The common denominator here, from what I see, is actually you. You can be in a conversation. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's correct. And
yeah,
the common
so but the
denominator
thing
is
is,
I'm
Imagine
asking you
that.
questions. May I
yeah, I
respond?
didn't get to finish.
The common
Dawkins, you know I didn't get to
denominator is
finish, right?
Darth.
Common denominator is what?
I said, well, imagine that. He's saying that there's a toxic cesspool that is formed somewhere in this Google Hangout. We must be detectives. We must root out the source of the toxic cesspool. Let's use our noses. Let's give everyone a sniff. Oh, you smell okay? No, you're not perfect, but you're not horrible either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just down the line, sniffy, sniffy, sniff. They get to Darth. My God, when was the last time did something crawl inside you and die? What has your dog been rolling in? Give that thing a bath already. Fuck. The common denominator is Darth. How long did it take you to figure that out?
I want to answer Groove Q's question. Who is the Scottish dude? The Scottish dude is named Matt Bell. He is currently serving a 9-year prison sentence in Scotland for child sexual abuse, for child rape, for being a pervert, for being a child molester, for being a nonce. And he's kicking Darth Dawkins' ass at this moment.
Yes, and one other thing that I might like to add is, if you know who Darth Dawkins is, sir, then adding Sidney's description to the context, you will know that this is basically a battle of reprehensible human being versus reprehensible human being.
Touche.
There, right? I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Like, so the thing is that since I perceive you to be the common denominator, it just would seem to me that you are actually the one that is the hostile person, because the same people that you chat with, they're not hostile all the time. However, every hangout you're in becomes hostile.
Can I say something quick? MK, my name is Rand Campbell.
Oh yeah, he is Rand Campbell.
All right.
Skylar Fiction. Welcome to the Skylar Fiction experience. May God have mercy on your soul.
Thanks, Max. Max.
Well, we got another one.
Headroom.
There we go.
So before we go on to this,
I'm sorry.
this
Yeah.
fun person.
Yeah. This is Rand Campbell.
Yeah. So maybe you could give me some background on this, since you're such a well explored person in this.
Okay. Well, Rand Campbell. Rand Campbell's from Eastern Canada somewhere. I think he was he was really messed up by watching his mother or father being murdered in front of his eyes as a kid. Like, he's got some real issues. But anyway, he became a massive Christian and a Christian. What's the word? Well, just like Darth Dawkins, a Christian evangelist. That's right. He moved from Canada to Costa Rica. I think it was Costa Rica. Or
Okay.
it might have
One
been
thing, yeah. Oh, yeah. So it sounds like he's a Christian.
Yeah.
He's a Christian by traumatic experience. Yeah, there's yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But he's
Belief,
not.
yeah, BVTE, belief via traumatic experience.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So here's this first 15-second clip, and then there's a longer one.
True. It was a designed book by the powers that be to manipulate people like you.
That was his point. That was his take on the Bible. And let's see what this is.
Oh, Rand Campbell's an atheist. I thought.
No. He's a Christian.
He's a Christian.
Yeah, but he's.
Well,
I don't. He
Rand
might be an
Campbell
atheist, but he pretends to be a Christian. So what's going on here? How can we get how many sound? Oh, what sound? Let's try it again.
Well, you're a Christian by declaration, as far as I'm concerned.
Bullying. G-Man's. I had to slap out a couple of homos.
Sorry, what about homosexuals?
No, homos.
No, the world hasn't come a long way. The world has actually reversed into what I would say a darker age.
Yeah, there was I don't know, some guy dressed like a girl in one of the hangouts, and he tried to get smart with me. So I had to get smart back. He didn't like it, but that's how it usually works out. You know what I mean? When somebody says something smart, and then you reach out and you give them a slap in the back of the head, and they spit out, a week's worth of stupidity.
I see fireworks about to happen.
You guys would suggest that let everybody do what they want as long as it's not hurting anybody, and we're going to live in a wonderful society. Let's get rid of God. Let's bully Jason Burns off the internet.
So, correction. Nadia is not a man. Nadia is a trans woman.
No. Nadia's a man. Yeah, you can go. Did you lift his skirt?
Let's do that. And the world.
Fuck you, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I want you to take a moment. No, I do not. I want just take a moment.
Then why are you hoping when you lift his skirt there's a vagina there when it was born with a set of nuts? Why are you hoping for that, buddy?
It's a sad day when the atheist community, of which holds themselves, and I've heard it said enough times on YouTube, where the atheists have stood up and waved the skull and crossbones atheist flag, talking about how they are much better Christians than Christians.
And imagine if
What?
About how they are much
That was
better
just weird.
Yeah.
than everybody else in the world.
Hey, get off me! I'm not a homo. Go to a gay bar and have this talk, man. Go to a gay bar and have this talk. Don't be talking to me about your homosexual desires. I'm not interested.
That the atheists have figured it all out, and that they're
horrible person.
The best people.
God gave it a direction to be pointed in. That's where I go.
Okay.
Self-righteous pig, to be sure.
Rand,
smart enough. You want to talk about homosexuality? Don't be a homo elsewhere. Don't be a homo with me.
And you ask yourself, as an atheist, what part of atheism do you see that occurring where you go, yeah, that's pretty cool?
What do you want to know? What is this, a new fetish I'm unaware of? Homos on Google wanting men to look at themselves while they sit there and pull their pee-pee?
Okay.
Smart enough.
You can see, as you can see.
I'm 53 years old. I'm not interested
All
in
right,
this.
time
New
out.
age.
Time
New
out.
age
He's got
fetish.
both of his hands and viewing the camera.
Somebody else to do that with.
Time.
Jesus.
See, I'm not fooled by the atheists. I know who you guys are. You guys are really
No, you don't.
deep down inside, very angry people.
Come on, one more time. And I'll get in my truck and I will sniff you out. All I gotta do is sniff daiquiris and bum sperm. You freak.
Can we pause it for a second?
So what it's going to take for atheism to actually have a decent bone in its bone is for the
So
atheist.
even amongst all this crap, there's a little nugget here to be found.
I'm trying to pause this fucking thing. Jesus Christ. There we go. Sorry about that.
So one of the most insufferable gaslighting strategies is to deliberately provoke anger in another person through, you know what I mean, inflammatory, nasty shit, right?
Yeah.
And then when they correctly respond to that sort of shit with anger, that same accuser then spins around and goes, "You have an anger management problem."
Right.
So what was really interesting about this, and I don't, you know, not to get too personal, you know, because I don't expect the internet to give a fuck about me or who I am or my background, but just my personal experience with this was this. I experienced this from like the age of 6 years old all the way to like 16 or 17 or something, where this "you have an anger management problem" thing was thrown at me over and over and over again. And the it's a really common sort of hot poker that Christians use on people that disagree with them. Is, you know, is they'll then say, you know, atheists are so angry, they hate God, they're so angry, you know. And in my estimation, Sidney, hate is really reserved for real things or ideological concepts that have like a real world impact. That how can you hate a fictional character? You really can't, because a fictional character isn't real, and because of that, the limitations of fiction, you can only know what about that fictional character, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the author has told you. That's why sometimes it's so fun to read people who either write a fan fiction or as a creative writing exercise, write a backstory for a villain that's designed to engender sympathy for the devil, right? That's all. I don't know. I'm sorry. Whenever I go off on tangents and you think they're dumb, just tell me to stop.
Well, I'm just going to let you go on your tangent and see if you can get out a point, and if not, well, you can't.
I guess that was my point, is that I'm very sensitive to that whole argument that atheists are angry at God, when I just don't think that you can reserve anger or hate for things that don't really exist, you know, or something like, you know, why I have a problem with somebody believing in Islam but not unicorns. That the unicorn believing people, their ideology doesn't have any impact on the real world. You know, I would. It's very hard for me to even perform a thought experiment in which the unicorn lovers of the world end up taking us into this, you know what I mean, totalitarian or theocratic dictatorship that forces us to worship pink unicorns.
God forbid, eh?
Well, it might be better than what we've got now, but, you know.
Yep. But this is a bit of a shit show that we're watching. It's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love how the moment that Darth accuses this, or I'm sorry, not Darth. He's so Darth-like. They're also Darth-like. The moment that Mr. Campbell accuses Mr. Kane of you know, masturbating on screen, which he's clearly not doing. The poor guy, like, it's an unconscious reflex for him to throw up his hands and go, look, I'm not touching myself.
It's a typical Christian. It's a typical Christian
You know?
ploy to go straight to talk about the penis. That's all they do. They want to go straight to the penis. What you'll notice Christians do that. Straight to the groin, and specifically the penis. I don't know what that's about.
And just bringing up porn when it's just so clearly like not going on. You know?
Exactly.
Okay, so first of all, just knowing what I know about the anatomy of the male brain, my understanding is it would be impossible for him to both moderate this debate and masturbate and watch porn at the same time. because guys can't multitask when they're deeply involved in something as visceral as trying to achieve an orgasm. So right there, that accusation falls a little flat on its
Pretty
face.
much, yeah. Well, that's all they got. That's what they use, because they're slimy and they're deceptive and they're just plain liars. But anyway, I rant when I shouldn't be. Let's hear this.
I say anything.
Oops.
Like gay.
Naughty twerking over a fruit basket.
What you're doing is acting out on your own pain. What you're doing is acting out on your own hurt.
Yes. You got kids?
Okay.
So
whatever.
Your partner haven't adopted any yet.
You insult people. And insult is the lowest form of comedy. What you're doing is the lowest form of comedy. There is nothing funny about insulting or making fun of or bullying.
The point is, Rand, you're the one who's projecting your own position onto me, and then you're wondering why I'm not agreeing with you, because I don't hold your position.
Was telling me to look at, are you kidding me, queer? You were the guy telling me to pull down my pants and look at my own penis while you sat there and got your own little thoughts happening.
Oh my God.
People, you make fun of people on the internet because you're punks. You're a punk.
So I don't really.
This is like Christian hypocrite supercut right here.
You only do it because it's safe on the internet. Because if the truth is to be known, you're all scared, and that's why you do it. You've been bullied.
Oh, this is fucking meta projection right here. Meta projection.
Where you can carry on in the ways that you carry on and make fun and mock people.
If you look up the definition of worship, that's not in
Ah,
there.
somebody punched the fourth wall already.
Blockhead, don't try to get smart with me or I'll come through the screen.
Well, again,
you know exactly what I'm talking about. Quit mincing my words and act like you're some kind of a tough guy. I'll slap the mustache off you, son.
You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to stop mocking Christians.
We all have a desire to worship within it, whether you're worshiping money, whether you worship your wife, whether you worship, in your case, your boyfriend.
You guys need to stop mocking. You need to stop insulting. It's not funny. You're not funny people. There is nothing funny about you.
I take issue with that you're very derogatory about Nadia when Nadia is a very good person.
Yeah, do you know how well do you know him?
Yeah, imagine that. A trans person could be good.
Reasonably well, as far as, I've had quite a few long talks with her.
So you know her from where?
Oh, for Christ's sakes, Mr. Kane, what are you trying to do? Make this guy's head explode?
Oh, okay. All right. Now, Waffle Hound here with the flat forehead, Eve.
Well, I don't think you should be putting words in my mouth.
Shut up, stupid. I wouldn't speak to you if you're on fire in a corner.
That's a Christian.
You're right with God.
Oh, wow. It could only be better if he said, I wouldn't acknowledge you if you were on fire in a corner, which is really what the true Christian philosophy is towards non-believers or towards people that have, you know.
It was
Yeah, I'm gonna switch that off.
Oh, is this the second one, or is, oh no, let's just roll back to roll back to the beginning.
It's just a repeat of the first one, which I didn't mean to play. Sorry.
So, are we still on YouTube?
For a bit, yeah. I'm gonna I'm gonna start winding it down because we've been going quite a while. So I'm gonna wind it down. I'm gonna say thank you everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And the PayPal, my PayPal is at the bottom of the screen for those who like what I do. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. The Discord is still open for anybody who wants to join. So don't be shy.